Hello, everyone. It's time for another one of my birthday picks. And you know what, guys? I think it's time that you learn more about the history of African American cinema, and of course, our contributions to the arts here.
But Jova, this movie was apparently a creation of Joel Schumacher.
Oh no.
No, it wasn't! Oh god, okay.
But it says here, written by...
Okay,
Whatever,
clearly, and this is why we need to hold lessons like this. Allow me. So, flashback to October 21st, 1974, when opened in the Broadway musical classic, The Wiz, the Super Soul musical Wonderful Wizard of Oz, shortened to The Wiz. It was a pretty upstanding Broadway musical at the time. It was essentially a remix of Frank Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz into the context of contemporary African-American culture here. Consider it a remix, a remake, or whatnot, but audiences, black, white, ethnicities all around enjoyed it for its stunning songs, its wonderful staging here and there, and arguably it actually did the unthinkable and sort of slightly deconstructed the original Wizard of Oz tale here and there. In a tasteful way, mind you. It starts its greats as Stephanie Mills, who was an up-and-coming R&B rapper, but still a teenager to fit with it. Ted Ross and Mabel King. Why do I mention this? Because, well, it was such a big hit that, well, it deserved a great movie to go with it. And here's where things get a bit rocky here. So, it was to be the 8th feature film, that's right, the 8th feature film of a little production company known as Motown Productions. They were pretty much, the studio that had a lot of access to some of the top African-American pop cultural artists and, talents of the time here and there. With, of course, the film's head, Berry Gordy of Motown Records label. Now, Gordy originally wanted to do the smart thing and wanted the teenage future R&B singer Stephanie Mills, who, played Dorothy in the original musical back in 1974, to reprise her role as Dorothy. Seems like a good idea, she could sing, she could act, it would do good. They even got some of the other actors from the original musical, like Ted Ross as the Cowardly Lion, or the beloved and wonderful Mabel King as Eveline, the Wicked Witch of the West. And here's where the problems really start to arise here. So, you ever heard of this ever-famous woman by the name of Diana Ross? You probably have, because she was a superstar around the time, she was an amazing singer, and she was starting to make a film career for herself. So, she laid her eyes on The Wiz as Dorothy. Problem: at the time, she was 33 years old.
Oh, man.
For the role of... too old?
Yeah, hey, fun fact, that's exactly what Gordy argued. So, pretty much Gordy said no to her, and that was that. Except, no, it wasn't. Enter in Universal Pictures helping Diana Ross muck up the project here. Ross went over Gordy's head and went to executive producer Rob Cohen at Universal Pictures to arrange a deal where he would produce the film if Ross was cast as Dorothy. Gordy and Cohen agreed to the deal. Pauline Kael, a film critic, described Ross's efforts to get the film into production as perhaps the strongest example of sheer will in film history. Problem is, Diana Ross, you're amazing, but man, did you strong-arm your way onto this project.
Why was she so intent on doing that particular movie anyway?
Because this musical...
She was already famous and, rich and shit, so... Was
there any
particular reason?
It was because Diana Ross was trying to make a name for herself as a film star actor, which she was in the works of doing. However, this film sort of crushed those dreams, and she kind of went back to mainly singing after this movie. Probably because of the reaction to her performance as Dorothy, upon which she strong-armed the role on. Now, you think that the problems end there? Oh no, they were just beginning. So originally, this musical had John Badham, the director of Saturday Night Fever, the movie that made John Travolta a powerhouse actor and was a great musical in and of itself. Well, because of Diana Ross sort of forcing her way in and replacing Stephanie Mills, John Badham quit out of protest. So instead, they replaced him with, of all the directors, Sidney Lumet. You know, that guy behind more serious films like 12 Angry Men, Dog Day Afternoon, Network, and The Verdict. Don't get me wrong, great movies, but none of them were musicals. Let alone
he also
movies.
did the 70s as a Murder on the Orient Express, which we commented upon. But like Jova just said, it's clearly not the same thing.
So I guess it'd be like getting Guy Ritchie to do a musical. Oh no, wait, they did.
So we had changed directors, a prima donna actress kind of forcing her way in on a role that would have been better suited to a more teenaged person here and there. And again, we replaced the original director, who would have been great for doing a musical, with a director who had not done a damn musical in his life. And let me say it like this. When adapting a musical to the big screen, you got to know how to do it well. If you don't know how to do it well, you end up with crap like Cats, among many things. But guess what? The problems still don't end there. And
But Jova, the guy who did Cats, did a musical before.
well, then he just lost his mind for Cats. So, any good movie or musical needs a good screenplay writer, right? So maybe we would get, like, one of the screenwriters from The Wiz, which, okay, may I remind you, The Wiz was a Broadway show made by black people, starring black people. Now, okay, later renditions of it can have people of many mixed races or whatnot, but for the time, The Wiz was known for being an all-African-American production. So what did they do when it went to cinema? They put white people in charge of it. Look, I'm not going to say that white people cannot direct a movie starring black people. But consider this. There was a lot at stake on the line with this movie here and there. If you have heard about the blaxploitation era, it's a somewhat controversial era, but one that cannot be denied was arguably one of the more progressive era, where black people were being given more notable roles here and there. So, this film would be the culmination of that. This, believe it or not, was at the time the most expensive movie musical ever made in films. So, basically, this movie needed to succeed, otherwise, shock of all shocks, Hollywood would decide that suddenly, people don't want to see movies starring black people or having all African-American cast or whatnot. So I'm sure this movie won't possibly fail, and they had the utmost care for it, and they hired Joel Schumacher as the screenwriter.
Okay. I'll say, okay. It's not like Joel Schumacher was a bad filmmaker. He has made good films.
No, okay. Joel Schumacher is by no means a talentless hack. But again, let me put you into consideration. A 39-year-old white male is going to be writing the scenery, thus the dialogue, and the script for a movie starring black people. And last I heard, I'm not quite sure if he got a lot of consultation for it. Boy, come to think of it, this year's been quite interesting. We already dealt with Joel Schumacher for Halloween, we're dealing with him now for my birthday, and I get the feeling we may be seeing him again for Christmas. So, at the end of the day, what was the result of all this? The movie bombed. And what's worse, blacks would not, us African-American folk, we wouldn't really get a movie to ourselves, except for sometimes some scarce openings here and there. No, this was pretty much the end of the blaxploitation era, for better or for worse. Mainly for the worse here, because it became a lot harder. We would have to claw and scrape for them. There were some giants like Eddie Murphy who thankfully did manage to make their way, but it was not made that much easier. We wouldn't get another chance until something like Baby's Kids. And that sucked. So then we'd have to wait until The Princess and the Frog. That finally got a moderate success, but, then it just came and went. Until finally, Hollywood had the sense smacked back into them when Black Panther, a movie made by black people, starring black people, became the highest grossing solo superhero film of all time. So, there you go, guys. A movie made in 1978 that spawns a tragic tale that spreads to about as late as 2018, and Lord knows if we have another failure with a with a cast of mainly black folk, who knows? Hollywood may use an excuse for that. What I'm saying is that Hollywood, despite supposedly being all for diversity, really can be some damn racist folks here and there who will look for any excuse to undermine the diverse folk. That said, at the end of the day, this movie is not the worst thing ever. Now, yeah, you're probably confused. I went into a whole spiel about it. I actually do not hate this movie. Even though it makes a lot of baffling changes to the original musical, which was, performed and made with songs by Charlie Smalls. He's a great musician, look him up here and there, and had, again, a pretty damn awesome cast here and there. The movie, unfortunately, does a lot of stupid stuff, but it has a lot of good. I consider this a guilty pleasure at worst, but by all means, folks, judge for yourself. So, let's see what they whipped up for us.
Start before the 1970s Universal logo.
In 3, 2, 1, click.
So wait, did they replace the original songwriters from the musical with white people as well?
Thankfully, no. That is one of the few things they retained from the original Broadway musical was the songwriter, Charlie Smalls.
And in case you were wondering when Jova mentioned Rob Cohen earlier, yes, it's the same Rob Cohen who were gone to direct The Fast and the Furious.
Also, Jova, I have a question.
Yes.
I am not an expert on cinematography, nor in how
Michael
to
Jackson,
nor in how to structure, a movie.
He's not an actor either.
But Ted Ross. But the thing that I see consistently, and that raises me a question: why adaptation of musicals do not retain most of the time the screenwriters or musical composer of the original? I don't mean just this case. It seems to be a common thing that happens whenever a musical gets a movie adaptation. I get the whole adaptation thing, but wouldn't it make more sense to have the people from the original do that with a consultants from movie makers instead of the opposite?
It's because Hollywood for some reason has this idea that they're famous in Broadway, but they're not famous outside of Broadway, and so they rather get Hollywood stars.
That's stupid.
This is again, it kind of flies into the face of the message, considering how they brought actors from the original Broadway show into this. Ted Ross and Mabel King. Also, you seem familiar with Ted Ross there.
I seriously heard that name somewhere before, but I can't grasp it in a second. I'll just check in the meantime.
It's well, if it helps you to, the adaptations of Rodgers and Hammerstein's musicals were written by them. They got different actors for the roles, but they were still written by Rodgers and Hammerstein. So,
fair enough. Also, I have a trivia for you, Jova. Guess what this movie is called in my country?
The Wizard?
No, I'm Magic. And I don't mean it. I don't mean it's a translation. It's literally the English words. I'm Magic.
Okay.
I don't know what. Okay, Joe, is that like the title of one of the songs in the movie?
No.
Also, why is there a radioactive sign on that house?
All right, let me see.
Am I missing something?
Okay, so here's the thing. Instead of, taking place in Kansas, they sort of have it instead take place in Harlem, New York. And before you ask, no, the Broadway musical didn't take place in New York. This is mainly done to accommodate Diana Ross's version of Dorothy. So, okay, Diana Ross is a 33-year-old at the time of this movie, playing a 20-year-old who kind of acts like a 10-year-old, but we'll get to her later.
Oh boy.
Well, in my country, it's just called The Wizard, and that's it.
I actually don't know. I actually didn't know much about this movie until Joe brought it up. I don't know what my country's relationship with this movie might be, but considering the general behavior by connationals, yeah.
I actually saw this movie as a kid.
Oh, you did?
I did. It had on TV. I don't remember much from it, but I do remember seeing it, yes.
Is this a play or is this a documentary into one family's life?
Yeah,
It's actually easier. It was actually easier, Jova, for movies like of this nature to break into Europe rather than Hollywood itself, like because Europe has different sensibilities about these matters.
I will say this. While this movie does make some baffling changes to the source material, and by source material I mean the original Broadway show of The Wiz, because yes, they made some baffling changes in the movie, of course.
It also helps, Jova, that since we don't have Broadway musicals over here, movie musicals are in more demand.
Yes.
Basically.
I will say this. This movie might have done better if it were done in a different...
there's Toto.
Yeah, if it were released in, maybe a later time. The problem is that when this movie came out, black films in general were kind of relying on its success. Which, again, you put a movie that was going to determine whether or not we get more black-led films into the hands of white folk. Just saying.
Well, sorry, go on.
It feels a bit like a self-fulfilled prophecy, just saying.
I mean, there was Blade in 1998.
And Princess and the Frog was directed by two white directors, Ron Clements and John Musker, the guys who directed, Treasure Planet, Little Mermaid.
Oh, like I said, I don't have anything against the idea of white people directing a black-led film. What I am against is basing all hope of there ever being another black-led film, period, off of a case like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm reading here from the reception, Java, at least just to check if my country says something about it. Apparently this is considered, I guess due to the setting, a Thanksgiving movie.
I guess, sure.
It's mentioned here, from after a few years, especially during Thanksgiving Day, it gets broadcasted regularly.
This is quite a large family.
Guys, in hindsight, we should have done this film first before doing the Fast and the Furious, because then I could have said in the intro, from the producer of The Wiz, it's Fast and Furious, the Fast and the Furious.
Don't worry, we'll eventually have squirm generations of those.
You have to remind me to do that then.
Anyway, there we go.
Is that them sucking up to her because of her demands to be in this movie? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that like a thing?
Please
Watch
have
the
my
scene.
character be the most awesomest
Try
person
to guess.
in the world.
Try to guess which scene is actually meta.
Again, look, nothing against Diana Ross. She can act, she can sing, but she was not fit for the role of Dorothy, especially considering the changes they had to do for Dorothy to make it fit Diana Ross.
You had to tweak Dorothy to be in her mid-20s.
It reminds me of what Benigni did for his own version of Pinocchio, but it's a story for another time.
So,
also, I checked the Java to answer your question. I remember Ted Ross from the first Police Academy movie, which I saw when I was a kid.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he's great in this as well. But yeah. Okay, so...
there is one other bit of trivia regarding this movie, actually.
Yes.
What?
To tie in with this film, Diana Ross recorded an album called Diana Ross Sings Songs from The Wiz, and Motown planned to release the album about a year after the film came out.
Didn't happen?
It happened, but way later.
It did come out in November of 2015.
Well, better late than never, I guess.
So, yeah, this movie was a box office bomb. It cost $24 million to make, and yet upon release only brought back $13,600,000. It eventually worked its way up to $21 million, but still a loss. So, yeah.
Is this her I Want More song?
Okay, here's the thing. Dorothy in the movie is a bit backwards. In the Broadway...
We've barely seen her, and yet she's going on about how much she wants more.
Actually, that's the thing. It's not so much she wants more, it's that she's afraid to venture out. That's her thing. She is terribly shy and afraid of going out in the world. Trust me, it gets a bit more sillier later on.
So it's not even a potential commentary on agoraphobia thing.
I don't know
Maybe it is, but if it is, it's a bit clumsy.
I've never read the book, but isn't Dorothy supposed to, be tired of the whole routine, hence the songs somewhere out in the rainbow?
Exactly! And that's the thing. Even in the original Wiz Broadway, she was like that, more outgoing and free. The problem is that because, she's more of an adult here, they changed it around, and I don't think they really needed to.
As Joel never saw The Wizard of Oz,
well,
I don't get this.
You know what? Let me bring up the trivia regarding Joel Schumacher.
Yeah, the one thing I found instead for the session, because a short version, it doesn't seem to mention what my country thinks of a movie. I think it's for the better. But it mentions here that in 2008, due to the 30th anniversary of the movie, it was actually released a special issue in DVD, and the reason we sold the most, it was speculated because it was capitalizing on Michael Jackson's death.
Yeah. Okay,
Brilliant.
so let's talk about Joel Schumacher's contributions. Joel Schumacher's script for The Wiz was influenced by Werner Erhard's teaching and his Erhard Seminars training movement, as both Schumacher and Ross were very enamored of Werner Erhard.
Also, I hope to God the musical numbers are going to be filmed like that. Just basically, just the camera
Standing
staring
in
at
the
Diana
room.
Ross.
Well, maybe we should have gotten a director who's more used to making musicals. Okay. Maybe Sidney Lumet was enthusiastic, but his directing style just doesn't work for this movie. So, anyway, let's talk about Dorothy's character. Here, she's a woman who, is currently a kindergarten teacher. So, she has a job. She still lives at home with her aunt and uncle for some reason. So basically, NM is trying to, get her to move on up to, teaching high school. Here's the problem with this. The movie treats it like, the only reason Dorothy doesn't want to, teach kids at high school is because she's afraid and whatnot. Never mind the fact that teaching kids in high school is way different than teaching kids in kindergarten.
Okay, moving on. One thing that I found, Jova, is that apparently, there was apparently an Italian edition back in 1978, so this movie probably has come out at the same time in my country. Most of the characters were revoiced again for an edition of 2004. So there's that.
Jova, apparently there was this 2015 TV version where NBC Universal pretty much tried again. Have you seen that one?
Yes, it was much better because it took more cues from the Broadway show. Again, look, don't get me wrong, this movie actually does produce a lot of good ideas, and a lot of the effects shown are pretty damn good. But
If
it
I
has...
understood correctly, they reversed the roles. Like, Aunt Em is all like, look, I know getting out into the world isn't easy, but you've got to try, and she's not really keen on doing that.
Pretty much.
They're literally reverting the characterizations for whatever
Also,
reason.
another thing, Jova, I get the idea that some of the family members were supposed to be the whole parallel to the character she's gonna meet later in Oz. The thing is that I'm not really understanding so far which character is who their counterparty are gonna be.
That's the thing, Tio. That family scene was just for the opening song, pretty much. Here's the problem here. So, okay, in the original Wiz Broadway show, it starts on a farm. Again, the reason they...
Jesus.
Like the original Wizard of Oz here. Again, for this version, it starts in Harlem, because they had to adapt it because Dorothy's more of a grown woman. So instead of a tornado taking her to Oz, of course we have a snow-nado.
In the middle of fucking New York.
Of course, we get those all the time.
Oh no!
How can you live there?
It reminds me of just last week, actually, when a mud tornado came and flipped me over to Mars.
Oh, what's going on? Oh, is this the Star Wars Holiday Special now?
Okay.
Hang on, didn't this came out the same year as that?
Oh my god, it all
snap.
makes sense now. Back then it was the age of these kind of things. Oh.
Don't worry,
Tio?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've just been checking. This film actually did come out the same year as the holiday.
Yeah,
special.
now that makes sense. Star Wars Holiday Special has a shit ton of sequences like this one because we were capitalizing on the whole,
Music video.
music video, psychedelic, and comedy shows. Oh, whoa. Hand.
Is this The Wizard of Oz or The Exorcist?
Yeah.
Oh, graffiti comes to life?
You'll see.
So I'm saying this is where the movie goes full trippy mode now.
So here was kind of one of the more interesting ideas for the movie here and there. So Oz essentially is a wacky, mystical, magical version of New York City. This is actually an interesting idea. The problem is in parts of the execution. Also, totally for kids, right? This won't totally scare them.
Is this supposed to be the equivalent of the Munchkins?
Yes.
Well, I can see they got the right idea, I guess. Also, where did she land? Is it a sandbox?
I'm pretty scared of this too.
Yeah.
Also, is this a rejected set for Jet Set Radio?
Maybe.
Wow, they were planning Jet Set Radio as far back as 1978. Wow, Sega were really ahead of their time.
Oh, and that's how she killed the Wicked Witch by smashing her with a signboard. Yay!
Yay!
To be fair, this is pretty accurate even for the original novel.
So this is Eva Mean.
I'll be honest, the only kind of film that I saw from around this time with a cast that had a lot of African Americans in it, that had the theme of blaxploitation, was Live and Let Die.
I thought you were gonna say Blackula.
No. Well, remember, Jova, James Bond has always done what James Bond has always done for years is try and take off some stuff that was popular at the time, and in Live and Let Die's case, blaxploitation films.
Okay, so now, in credit to this movie, one thing it does, like, The Wiz, is actually take more inspiration from the original story of The Wizard of Oz. One of the things they do is remember that there were actually two good witches, one in the north and one in the south, instead of it just being Glinda.
Why does she have a counting thing as a necklace?
Because it has to do with her name. You'll see.
She's called Math.
Miss One. The dialogue for this, it borders on perfectly sassy to sometimes I can clearly tell this is a white man writing for a black audience. Anyway, Miss One is
magical shoes, which now are not red, but are silver.
Believe it or not, Tio, that's how the shoes were in the original tale. They were made red for the movie because...
I actually forgot about that.
Yeah, to show off, oh, look how cool they are in color.
I get the thought process behind it.
Anyway, Miss One here is played by Thelma Carpenter. Again, another amazing casting decision. She was an African-American jazz singer.
So, were there any actors tied to this movie where instead were trying to propel their career, and this was what was their supposed starting points?
Why, yes. Well, okay, not so much Diana Ross. This was like her third movie.
Also, I guess she did had, like Joe said, she did have some precedent. Something the equivalent of, say, Orlando Bloom for Lord of the Rings.
Well, believe it or not, one of them was Michael Jackson. I mean, he was a big and upcoming pop star, but this was I believe, his first ever movie role.
Remind me, Jova, what musically? What did Michael even have under his belt at this point in time?
Stuff from the Jackson 5.
Yeah, most likely.
However,
Okay.
I do have good news though.
Okay.
This movie is how he met famed producer Quincy Jones here and there. Who's Quincy Jones? He's the guy who helped Michael produce his 3 best albums ever: Thriller, Bad, and Off the Wall.
Yeah, I was reading some of the trivia. I was reading some of the trivia. Apparently, 1 or 2 set scenes, stop rolling on the exterior buildings, were apparently reincorporating one of Michael Jackson's video clips.
So I'll say
What I know from Quincy Jones is that he was one of the composers from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
yeah, so let it not be said that this movie was completely a disaster because
It was a happy ending for someone, at least.
I'm personally also a fan of Dangerous myself.
Now-
I would argue that one is also on par with those.
Now I'm talking about his most famous and most successful albums.
Sure.
So, okay, now here is definitely the saving grace of this movie. The music. It probably helps that they still had Charlie Smalls come over from, his music work on the original Broadway show. And they actually do pump up songs to fit in a movie scenario here and there. They even developed some new songs here and there. For better or for worse, because some of those new songs replace songs from the actual original Broadway show. Some better than others. So, as for this number, this is one talking about The Wiz. If there's one thing it does great, is of course the singing and arguably the choreography fine enough here and there. Only problem is, it's not shot the best here and there. An idea with a scene like this should have, mainly use of the wide-angle shots here and there. While we do get to see a lot of interesting stuff going around and around here and there, it's sort of kept a little directed narrowly, if you can get what I mean.
Also, if Oz is supposed to be a parallel to New York City, what's gonna be Emerald City instead?
Oh, you'll see.
Boston?
Wait, Boston's not in New York City. That's Massachusetts.
Well, true, but I was getting the idea that, from one city to another, I guess.
Oh, well, the idea...
This is a very interesting depiction of the land of Oz.
Yes, it works in some areas, but doesn't work in other areas.
I guess remind me, just to make sure I get things right. Okay, even in the original book, Wizard of Oz was always been a fantasy story, right? I mean,
Pretty much. If anything, it's much more wacky than the actual movies.
I'm not saying. I get that. Jova in The Wiz, and by that I mean the original play. Did they actually? Was it also supposed to take place in suburbia as well, or was this a change from the movie? Okay.
This was a change to the movie. Like I said, I don't hate the movie entirely, but part of the reason that it is frustrating that this movie dictated the success was that it changed so much from the Broadway show. Again, some changes better than others.
I don't even understand what was even the point of this change. I mean,
Easier sets, I guess.
Okay. Again,
Universal was like, no, we want to film with a bunch of cardboards in the background. There you go.
allow me to explain. This again ties into them having to change stuff for Diana Ross's character. Like I said, in order to make her character work more, they made her a teacher. But to have her a teacher, they moved the plot from where she lives from, Kansas to New York, Harlem. Problem with that is in that regard, you know how Oz is supposed to be like a parallel to where Dorothy comes from, including the people she meets here and there? In doing so, they went with making Oz sort of a mystical version of New York City. Now, again, I'll say this. I don't inherently hate this idea. Some ideas work better than others. Here's the main problem, though. Oz, for a lot of it, looks like an apocalyptic setting here and there. It has these
nuclear wasteland.
Here's the thing. It has these darker and more grimmer settings here and there.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying this. This feels more like a Batman flick than Joel Schumacher's actual Batman flicks.
Well, he didn't direct this one.
I wonder if the idea behind it was supposed to convey that this is a dreamlike sequence, therefore shrouded by the night. Do later scenes reflect a more daylight appearance?
Yes, some do.
So I guess Jova, from this, maybe the answer to the Schumacher Batman movies, that maybe he should have written them as well as directed them.
Well, remember, okay, to be fair, when it comes to the Schumacher Batman films, there is a lot of allegations of executive meddling, so maybe he really did want to make them darker. Oh, remember that to watch out for the
yellow brick road. In this case, it's a taxi because
A
it's
yellow taxi.
That's rude.
Well, don't you get it? Black folk can't get a taxi.
I like Diana Ross, but I don't think I'm not sure I'm feeling her in this role, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's go back to Diana Ross. She was arguably the biggest point of contention when it came to criticism, considering how, Dorothy is the one who literally ties everything together. Dorothy in the original production was, a bold girl, The point of The Wizard of Oz and The Wiz was to teach her that there's no place like home, essentially. She was a girl who wanted more, but didn't realize that what she had at home was of great value here. Here it's the opposite. She's a grown-ass woman who's afraid of moving out of her own house, despite the fact that she has a job, so she's kind of comes off as a freeloader when you get down to it, and they constantly have her looking like she's about to break down crying or whatnot. Like, Diana Ross can pull off a better look, and this look isn't doing it. Again, maybe if, say Dorothy were of the age you'd be going for, it would make sense if they, did so here and there, but no, she's supposed to be a grown woman, and she can come off as kind of annoying because of it.
Well, TV tropes had when we mentioned that, but recommend against doing a drinking game.
Oh, about every time she cries.
Yeah, according to
I love that song.
It would take half an hour to pass out.
I love that song lyric. I'm acting just like a baby. Yes, you are. Stop it. Again, you're a 34-year-old woman playing a 20-year-old who acts like a 10-year-old.
Also, once again, I'm definitely getting the vibe of what I mentioned before about cheapening out on the sets, because, again, this is like the second musical piece already, and it's the same set. She barely moved from there.
Jova, are you talking about Dorothy or Robin from Batman and Robin?
Both.
Both.
I guess that's something consistent with Joel Schumacher.
So, let's see more of the whimsical...
Except this time she sings about her angst.
So let's see more of the whimsical land of Oz with its abandoned buildings and junkyard settings.
Are you sure this is Oz and not the place of Wally Bear and the No Gang?
So, let me put it like this, guys.
Did Oz get destroyed in a nuclear explosion or something?
Wait, guys, don't you see? The best way to respect our African-American audience is by suggesting that their version of Oz is so crappy and broken down.
I wonder. Okay. To try to guess as much as I can, I wonder if what they wanted to do with this was raising awareness or potential deconstruction of it, of the original story, considering the 30s musical is so charming and whimsical and idealistic. While this one instead tries to do a more, dark and instead showing how things really are angle, potentially. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm beginning to see a major problem with Sidney Lumet's directing. Sidney, just having the camera gawk at Diana Ross while she's singing isn't very exciting.
No.
The reason why it works in Murder on the Orient Express is because all the characters are cramped in tight spaces, meaning that you have to have these kind of camera angles.
Hey, Shiroi.
Yeah, but this isn't Murder on the Orient Express.
You haven't spoken much, so you're a musical buff. What do you think of the movie so far?
I at least like the songs, but the rest of this is kind of there.
I think the issue is that, question two, tone-wise, was the book darker?
Yes, There's
yeah.
I especially love the scene where the Teen Man basically chops in half a Queen of the Rats.
Yeah.
That's a thing that happens.
Okay,
Okay,
then. I don't mind a darker element here and there. What I do think is off is the scenery, though. Again, maybe STO mentioned the idea was to try and, make it a bit of social commentary, but if that was the case, the message was lost bad because it's just
And honestly,
so
Jova,
ugly to
I'm
look at.
literally just guessing. For all I know, I'm just talking out of my ass, and
Okay, now the
this
sets
really
remind-
was the intention of
Now the
of the
sets
makers.
reminded me of that scene in Man of Steel where Superman sinks into a desolate wasteland like this. And he
My
sinks
God,
into
you
all
can
these
really see the
goodness.
cardboard out of these. Oh, great! Let's pile up another thing, Crows, which, yeah, if you haven't seen Dumbo, which,
Okay, now one of the great advancements of this movie was having a new actor play the Scarecrow. You may know him as Michael freaking Jackson. He was only 19 when this movie was made, believe it or not.
So we have a reverse situation where the Scarecrow is played by a younger actor and Dorothy is played by an older actress.
Now, like I said, this movie was how he met Quincy Jones, who would help him produce some of his greatest albums. And also, he and Diana Ross actually struck up a very good friendship of this, to the point where they were platonic life partners, and he sort of made her the godmother of one of his kids.
I've never seen Michael Jackson try to act before.
Haven't you seen Moonwalker, Libs?
Not fully.
Okay.
Now, if I can give this movie some
The
credit...
only clips I've seen was the bits where Joe Pesci just rants and yells at everybody.
If I can give this movie some credit, I do like its different takes on the main characters. Yeah, I know. While a lot of the side stuff is kind of blah, and unfortunately the main actress, Diana Ross, isn't the best, a lot of other stuff is actually pretty well done. For instance, the Scarecrow in this version is made more of junk, and in this case is sort of a scarecrow in a cornfield to reference some of the cornfields in New York City. Yeah, believe it or not, we have some of those. And in him, he has quotes from a book, which he quotes, in a ploy to try and sound smart here and there. So, what did they change about it? We'll get to that eventually. Thank God none of those crows is named Jim, otherwise this would have been 100 gallons of awkward. So the idea is that these crows are basically gaslighting the Scarecrow here and there to
Great.
their own methods here and there. Okay, so...
I love it! The characters in universe don't want to see the fucking musical pieces.
It's Michael Jackson. I want to hear him sing.
Okay, so here's okay. Michael Jackson can sing wonderfully. My problem is this: you have Michael Jackson, the king of pop, and you replace the original song "I Was Born on the Day
Yes.
Before Yesterday" with a song where he's stuck on a pole and can't dance during it. Okay, sure, he gets to
Wow.
dance. He gets to dance later, but really, you don't have Michael Jackson sing for his specific
Remember,
number.
Jova.
What is it with films that we've seen? They're not letting a guy do what he does best, like Eddie
Well-
Murphy not being able to talk for most of 1,000 words.
Okay, we have to remember that this was before Michael became the quote-unquote king of pop.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
even
like-
then, people knew he was a great dancer. He was kind of the star of the Jackson 5 around the time of this movie. That said, though, he is still a phenomenal singer, and he does this song absolutely great. The idea of this song is a lot more darker than "I Was Born on the Day of Yesterday" from the original Broadway show, which was basically his introductory song to Dorothy. This song is sort of a talk about the monotony of his life and how he literally cannot get a win here and there. You know, that is kind of relevant regarding black folks, so you know what? This song actually does work. My only issue is that, again, they don't give him the chance to sing. I get it, story-wise he's stuck on this pole at that time, but it does feel weird. It's like having Michael Jordan in a movie where he doesn't play basketball. Or having Michael Jordan play baseball.
Oops.
Well, to be fair, Joe, that actually happened.
I
Yes!
guess that was the joke.
And it was terrible.
It was terrible, yeah.
Even as a kid, I knew that was terrible.
But that's the thing,
Hell. Him being terrible at baseball was literally a plot point in Space Jam.
Well, that was that's the thing, Joe. But that backstory was kind of autobiographical.
Yeah,
in a way.
I know.
He's a piece of himself.
Anyway.
Oh, I know. It was true. But that's my point, though. The movie, even Space Jam of all movies, was clever enough to know only use the baseball, Michael Jordan, to take the piss out of it.
Yeah, it's was it like in the movie where did his father have anything to do with it, or was
Yeah. The death of his dad sort of put him off of basketball here and there for a bit. He retired, went to baseball. That didn't work out. He eventually went back to basketball.
All right, thank Jesus, I guess.
Anyway, that said, though, I think it's like Shuri said, really great song, and story-wise, this is interesting for the Scarecrow's personality. My only nitpick is that he doesn't get to dance during it.
Brilliant.
It's just the direction's really off-putting. Question, Jova.
What?
Were the sets this grimy in the musical?
No. That's the thing. The musical is a lot more magical looking. Again, it was mainly a more African-American and, deconstructed take on the original Wizard of Oz.
Remember, as Joe already told us that in the original musical, it wasn't still a fantasy story. They just turned it into a suburban story for this movie, apparently.
Again. It all ties back to them having the thing start off in Harlem because they needed to age up Dorothy's character. So, we kind of needed to give her some reason for this plot to happen. I mean, to be fair, I still think...
Oh no, not the dog. Sorry.
I do think it still could have worked if they had still set it in Kansas. I can see why they changed it to Harlem. Doesn't mean I agree with it. Again, a lot of these movies' problems, when you get back to it, they kind of all go back to starring Diana Ross as Dorothy.
Doesn't Kansas have big cities they can use for reference?
And again,
I get it. Harlem, a big center and commonly associated with the African American culture. It's just that it feels so drastic as a change.
So look, here's an idea. You want to have Oz based on Harlem, just have Oz based on Harlem. But you don't need to change the main setting. Okay, now talking about the bad, let's talk about some of the good. Michael Jackson was a great pick for the Scarecrow here and there, and the way that they actually do make the costumes for this movie are pretty dang good, with the practical effects. Also, because he has great leg and feet work, he's able to, pretty much do a very good impression of what a Scarecrow who is literally walking for the first time in his life would be like. I actually do like this little quote gimmick they give to him, which he pulls out from his body. It's an interesting idea here. What's a whiz?
It's a whiz is what you do when you go to the toilet. Oh,
Damn it, Whips.
Is that why the yellow brick road is so yellow?
What yellow brick,
Exactly.
Joel? We haven't seen anything about that.
we've seen a yellow car.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow.
How can I follow a yellow brick road? There's not even a road.
You need to take a leap of faith.
In this place, I'm not.
If I only had a brain.
Then we wouldn't have had. Then we wouldn't have cast Diana Ross in this role.
Good luck with that, Diana.
Oh, 2 times.
I mean,
Okay, we're just
okay,
wait, is this a Tex Avery
Yeah.
cartoon now? We're just gonna
Okay,
use it.
Jova. Okay, Jova. Obvious question to ask. Is this like the running gag? They always found the taxis, but they completely always ignore them.
Because black people can't get a taxi.
You know,
I'm sure this will not get annoying in the slightest.
That's not
hey,
even
Joe,
funny.
hey,
Like,
Jova.
Yes.
I don't even know where that stereotype comes from, but it's not funny.
Racist taxi
okay.
owners.
To be fair, this was actually social commentary for the time of this movie, so it does fit.
You know,
That's
Jova. You know who they if they want to if they wanted to have, or if Diana Ross really wanted to be in this movie so badly,
yeah.
why not just play the wicked? Sorry, why not just play a witch? You know, either the wicked
I
witch
get
of the
the
West
idea,
or-
Dweebs, considering everything, I seriously get the idea that Diana just wanted this specific role. It was like her dream, and
there's the
she
yellow
did.
brick road.
She fought tooth and nail to try to get to that.
Okay, so here we go. The show's most famous number
With
whatsoever.
four Empire State Buildings.
Oh, so apparently the Castle of Oz is the Empire State Building.
Multiplied by 4, so which one is King Kong?
Also, what was with that? What was with that staggered camera reveal back then?
Sidney Lumet. Anyway, this is the show's most famous and pretty much its big line. Ease on down the road. It's a very jammin' tune here that I love in the musical and love in the movie. There's just one little problem with the movie version right here. You like this camera angle where it's shot from their backs the entire time?
It's the entire song, isn't it?
It's
I
gonna
get
be
the
the
idea
entire
when-
song. Isn't
I
it?
get the idea we wanted to replicate the original where the characters were moving into the background, to simulate the idea of moving forward, but
Oh, look,
yeah.
don't get me wrong. Sometimes they'll close up in on them, but for the most part, it's shot from the
Yeah,
back.
I mean, for all I know, they might not even be singing. For all I know, they might just have they might just not even, they might just be like just
Playback,
having their faces stoic while they're doing the dancing.
Which is a shame because finally we do get to see some pretty damn good dancing from Michael Jackson. It's not shot that well. Again, I have never seen a musical to movie adaptation that botches the staging and filming so badly.
I can also imagine the costume might
from what-
impede his movements, so
I have
kudos to
seen
that,
some-
I guess.
I have seen a few bits and pieces off Moonwalker, well, mainly the music videos, and that they were better directed. But okay,
Whoa.
I guess it helps that they actually had people experienced in that field.
That's the thing. In Michael Jackson's music videos, those are filmed expertly to work.
Yeah, remember,
with
the bad music video was directed by Martin freaking Scorsese.
Wow, yeah.
So yeah, no, Michael went out of his way to get.
Really?
Yeah, go look it up if you don't believe me.
Okay, so this one's actually kind of clever. The next part of their journey takes them to, it's literally Coney Island. Apparently the Yellow Brick Road leads you onto a roller coaster.
It's a thriller. Now that I
But
think about it.
if it's supposed to be the equivalent of a Team Man, shouldn't like a factory will be more appropriate?
Yeah, you'll see.
It was either thriller or bad, one of those two.
Oh,
Yeah,
someone
just
is a peeper.
Okay then.
Huh?
So no, Michael went out of his way to get the best possible people to direct his music videos.
Exactly.
Oh, and it also had Wesley Snipes in it.
Oh,
So that's the Tin Man, I take it.
Yeah, who was crushed by his wife.
damn, that's harsh.
His wife.
We'll
Uh,
explain
didn't-
more.
I didn't know that the Tin Man had a wife.
I thought the original tale was that he became like that because of a loss of his wife.
That's never mentioned in the movie itself. Maybe in the
Well,
book. it is.
I trying to remember specifically the book first.
I don't know.
He's not going to talk like this the whole movie.
Nah, he'll get better. He just needs a little something to help, work his mouth better.
Pick me up, yeah. Whoop.
So, yeah, like I said, the costume for Nipsey Russell here actually looks pretty damn good. As a kid, I literally thought it was an animatronic.
Yeah, it actually does look pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty empty. Oh.
So yeah, the Tin Man here is played by Nipsey Russell. He has he was basically a robot made for this theme park, essentially. One with kind of a shill man.
Thanks also for that crowd shot.
True.
Oh.
Huh.
How depressing.
His fourth wife. Go figure.
What about his his other three?
Chop shop.
Wow.
Maybe.
Now, I actually like Nipsey Russell as the Tin Man, the showmanship angle here and there. Yeah, I mean, it's not the typical Tin Man found in the woods with an axe thing, but I do like how they made him kind of a showman sort of guys here and there, too.
Okay, where's the plot gone?
Well, okay, to be fair, Dibs, like in the original musical, each character gets their introductory song about, what they're longing for or what they need, or essentially just an introduction song in general here and there.
Yeah, remember, Dave, so this is the thing about musicals. A lot of times the plot will just stop for exposition being condensed in one song, or to just showcase,
Guessing,
the musical number wanted to have.
I'm guessing it's at least better than. Okay, I haven't seen the Cats film.
Oh,
But one problem I heard of that one was that the source material barely had a plot in the first place.
Oh, trust me.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, this is much better than Cats. Even with the movie messing stuff up from the musical, it's much better than Cats.
Well, I'm not wanting to run in terror from Judi Dench.
Well, the thing is, it depends too, because it also depends on how the musical is made. Because most of the time, the songs are about exploring the emotions that the characters are going through. I mean, the whole point of Hellfire is to basically dissect Frollo's character. If it's just for exposition, like you said, well, I guess it depends on how you do it. Like Moana does that expertly with. I mean, how do you tell the lore of the world? Have the Rock sing a fun song. There you go.
There's always an exposition song.
Yeah, but it's the thing. During your welcome, it's not. The plot doesn't stop. You're being explained. You're having the lore explained to you.
I love this line. Okay, so he was used to that position of being sat on by his wife.
That is information that was not necessary.
Yeah.
For kids.
Well, you wanted plot. There's your plot.
Literally.
That's a monkey's fault.
What? The plot of him? Yeah, here's the story of how I got squished by my wife. I haven't even met the wizard yet.
Wow.
To be fair, Dreams, that's the same thing from the original story.
Yeah, the wizard is kind of like our end goal for now.
Well, remember
funny story. The most experience I have with the Wizard of Oz story was playing this really early 2000s PC game that twists the story a little bit by having Dorothy be kidnapped.
Interesting. Okay, this is Slide Some Oil to Me, and again, it's a very good rendition of a song here. Whereas in the original it went for just straight jazz, this one goes for, again, more of a showman tune-ish ship sort of version. And thankfully Nipsey Russell can definitely sing. And you can tell he has some experience from being a game show host as well to help out.
You know,
We needed a cutaway from that.
there's only
Like,
so many
Joel,
times I can say
Joel,
this.
what were you implying with that? Or director, sorry, Sydney. Like,
Sydney, I'm the one that's supposed to be staring blankly at the screen, not your camera.
Seriously, I half wonder if Sidney was trying to film this like a horror movie.
not just that, Jova. Again, it keeps making me think about the cheapness of, like, what was the budget of this? First of all, like, I don't know yet.
That's the thing, Tio. It was $24 million, the highest budget of a movie musical
I'm
at the
sorry,
time.
this is
Did
just
they
kind of
spend most of that on
unexcusable.
Diana Ross?
I wonder, because parts of the set seem to be, decently constructed, like the entire roller coaster thingy. But most of the others looks very cheap. The characters barely move in them, and we get these camera shots which just stay in one place for a long time.
I get the feeling that the budget may have gone a lot to the costumes, which, again, pretty good effects, all things considered, and some of the set design. The problem is that I think why this movie feels and seems so cheap is because of the direction and the camera work. I know it sounds weird, but bad camera work can make a movie look very cheaply done. Case in point. What?
Sidney Lumet made the Failsafe.
Yes.
I don't know that.
Anyway,
Failsafe was a movie where it depicts what would happen if Cold War tensions just went. Like
Is this one song that was written for the movie?
No. This actually wasn't the original. However, if it seems a bit weird that he got 2 songs in a row, actually these ones are broken down.
Oh, oh wow. Well, okay. I will give this. They're trying to spice up the formula instead of just ignoring that.
Exactly. Anyway, if it seems a bit weird that the Tin Man got 2 songs in a row, Shiroi, here's the thing. In the musical, originally, Slide Some Oil to Me was his introductory song, and What Would I Do was sung later after they meet the wizard.
Hey, Taxi. To the stage production of that originated this movie, quick!
We're gonna need a time traveling Ryan Reynolds to shoot the responsibles.
I guess if I can
Oh
guess...
boy, we get another static. Watch the people walk away from the camera shot.
Which is, okay, here's another thing. They remix Ease On Down the Road each time a new member is added to the party by having them add some on down.
Which, was just like in the original movie.
Yeah.
At least
Oh
it was
my!
shorter
Oh
this time.
wow! With this one, they didn't even try the.
Okay. This is actually kind of creative for the next one.
Is this a Scooby-Doo episode now?
The sign says, don't ease.
So TV Tropes sums this movie up under audience alienating premise. Between the 30-something Diana Ross's overly emotional take on Dorothy, the story now taking place in a grimy, desolate, colourless world where Oz is effectively New York City with all its worst aspects on display, and several questionable song numbers, it's little wonder that the film adaptation failed to find an audience upon its initial release.
I don't think anyone's been over emotional.
Well, I mean,
Oh
it's
wow!
like that.
Hello.
Oh,
I think it's because, sure, the fact that Dorothy is way too whiny. Maybe that's what we're talking about.
Which wouldn't be too much of an issue if she was her original age, but she's meant to be in the mid-20s.
Okay, let's talk about some phenomenal casting. Here's Ted Ross, fresh off of the original Broadway musical as the Cowardly Lion. And he's just as awesome as he is there. Also, Hey Cats, a movie in 1978 did it better than you.
Well, Joe, to be fair, what isn't better than Cats? Again, I haven't seen it, but in full. But judging from the little bits I have seen on YouTube,
Oh, and in case you're wondering, he can actually do that Lion song right on the fly. No audio editing needed. He's just that awesome.
Is this one of the actors from the Broadway show?
Yeah, he mentioned that.
Ted Ross. I really do like, again, what they do with his costume here. Again, this movie has a lot of interesting ideas with the setting and costume work. The problem is that the setting is hit-and-miss stuff, and the costumes are great, as are the main characters, except for Dorothy.
And that's a bit of an issue when it's your main character.
Okay, the camera work somewhat works better for this musical. I'll give it that. This song. And I will admit, it was kind of a creative idea to put a lion by the New York Public Library.
No, Toto, no. The musical is not over yet. Okay,
Well,
now you can go.
Well, Jova, if it helps you, in the near future, we'll be doing what is regarded as a near perfect adaptation of a film, of a musical into a movie. So there's that.
What, Cats?
No, Sound of Music.
Whoa.
It's interesting. Did Robert Wise do musicals before Sound of Music?
I think he did Oklahoma. I'll have to look it up.
Damn, that's a very loud sounding.
Oh yeah, Ted Ross definitely gives 110% with his acting. Damn, you actually got Dorothy to man up for one of these scenes.
Oh, speaking of that, well, here's an example for you too. Based on actually.
By being encased in stone most of the time.
It's the perfect way to scare the piss out of people.
Damn.
Anyway, but yeah,
You know, when I started playing this movie, I was thinking, oh, well, I mean, at the very least, you know, with a Wizard of Oz movie, you know, considering how in the 20s film, I think it was
30s.
30s, sorry,
49.
Yeah, at least in the 39 movie, everything looked exactly like the way you'd think Oz would look. You know, the Land of Oz would look. It's all very fantastical and that. When I turned on this movie, I was expecting more of that with higher production values.
Now, again,
Not them randomly filming bits of New York City with terrible back screens.
Paper backgrounds, yeah.
Now, I'm not going to try and accuse the main team of racism, but again, I do wonder if maybe they did not consult the many black people who helped make this.
Doesn't surprise me.
I'm willing to bet they didn't know.
Again,
I
it's
mean,
kind
hell,
of.
sorry.
Again, the African American version of Oz is all of a sudden grim, dark, broken down, and trashy. It's kind of sending mixed messages.
Not just that, the characters also, as you can see, so far, the characters are being portrayed. Yes, we know about what the lack of the people bad already means, but the character seems to be mostly portrayed more in a negative light. And for example, in this case, Dorothy was super potentially being spirited towards the lion as soon as she learned about the cowardliness.
I'll say this, Dorothy, stones in glass houses, considering how you, a grown-ass woman, have been acting. And now, we say no to the taxi system. Go ahead and
Even
ease.
though we spent like the first half of the movie trying to catch one.
Speaking of which, we're actually only halfway through there. Damn.
Another question.
Get down.
Where are the people of Oz?
We'll see them eventually.
It's like London in the 1998 Avengers movie.
Seriously, where is everybody? I was kind of joking about Oz being destroyed in a nuclear explosion.
Well, apparently, Dwebs, Sydney thought it was an interesting idea.
Again,
It's not. It's not. It makes Oz look like a freaking ghost town. That's not how it should be.
Again, do you think Sidney Lumet was trying to film a horror movie?
I'd actually love to see that the Wizard of Oz concept turned into a horror movie, but this isn't supposed to be a horror movie, from what I can tell. It's supposed to be a musical. Okay, I'm not saying musicals can't have horror elements in them, but this is supposed to be a more light-hearted one. And yeah, all I'm seeing is grimy New York with an actress who can't, has a hard time. From what I can tell, has a hard time acting in the first place. Never mind trying to act like a 25-year-old, even though she's 30 and comes off like a 10-year-old.
Oh, hey, it's you again.
So who is this gentleman supposed to be standing for? I mean, like the leader of the monkeys?
No, he's, let's say, a puppeteer of sorts.
No, please, stop!
Okay, these are your nightmares for the next few weeks. You're welcome.
Okay, now I'm I'm convinced Tom Hooper took this film
And
as
before you
inspiration
ask,
for
no,
Cats.
this was not in the original Broadway musical. Well, hell,
You okay, Tia?
Oh, don't worry, Tio. The subway
Please
experience.
don't warn me next time.
Don't worry, Tio. The subway experience has just begun.
Oh my god!
They're coming.
I know. Sorry.
Taylor, question. Should I assume that I should keep you out of our commentary of Baby Geniuses?
I saw the movie a long time ago. The only scary thing I remember is that the head of one of the kids starts to inflate at some point, I think.
No, that's not it. The theme park attraction dummy things, like, trust me, Taylor, like that.
No, okay. I don't remember exactly that, but I don't remember how it was paced, because the thing that fucked me over this was how it was paced. This is borderline Dario Argento. Oh, hello.
Well, if you need an extra reminder, check out the Nostalgia Critic review, because he even makes the joke of, ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to your nightmares for the next few weeks. They literally make a baby animatronic look like a fucking Andre the Giant mixed with Gollum. Like, seriously.
So this is kind of an interesting idea. No, one of the first obstacles is a dangerous subway. A dangerous subway in New York City.
Never saw that before. Oh, I got strings, but now I'm free. Yes, please. Oh shit!
Never mind. It's this movie that has the inflating head thing.
No, we were doing electrocution. That's even worse. Please don't eat the dog, please.
Well, it can't get any worse right now.
Jova, please.
Yeah, seriously.
Apparently, recently, this film apparently has more of a cult fan base that appreciates the film's more redeeming qualities.
Yeah, like
Struggling to see what they are right now, but
Well, to be fair, Dwebs, like we've mentioned, there are the songs and the costumes, and the way they do portray some characters actually works out pretty well. Now,
well, to be honest, if I want to listen to the song, I'd either buy the soundtrack or like a official video or DVD of them actually doing the musical.
oh, I definitely recommend getting the soundtrack. I do get.
So I get the idea that this is supposed to be a stand-in for the tree attack scene.
Yes. Now, some people are split on the scene. On the one hand, it is somewhat something some people consider an interesting and abstract take that is actually pretty legitimately terrifying here and there, and one of the mismatches that actually works, combining the mundane with the mystical here and there.
Choda's pretty casual about everything that's going on.
I wonder, the dog was probably just dangled a tree in front of him and like, do this, please.
To be fair, what else is he supposed to do but run? Okay, so you remember how Miss One mentioned to watch out for the poison poppies? Well, now we're about to get to the poison poppies, which are, different from the original, shall we say.
I can see that.
The poppies are people.
Yes, women of the night, per se. Welcome to the bad side of Oz.
Oh.
This looks like, Jumbo, what's that city in Sonic Battle where Rouge lives?
Oh, shoot, I forget.
Rouge is a canonical house?
In Sonic Battle, she does, too.
Oh, wow.
I think it was Night Babylon.
They all actually have houses in battle, I think.
Sonic Battle is a surprisingly story-driven world-building game, too, despite being a fighting game.
And it's actually pretty good.
I just forgot the details.
So, guys, basically, as Miss One mentioned, watch out for the poison poppies. As you recall, the poppies in the original were a bunch of flowers that can make you go to sleep.
Yeah.
So why are they here?
For the movie, they, made them into a dancing.
Well, I'm at least glad we didn't put them for a stand-in for an opium factory.
Actually,
Well, to be fair, didn't they? Having humans dress up as something to represent the thing. Didn't they do this in like the Lion King musical?
Yeah, you know what? I actually don't mind this as much. I just like to joke about it because it is amazing the stuff they were allowed to get away with in kids' films.
Whoa.
Okay, now we're in Sidney Lumet's LSD dreams.
So, as you know, the poppies make organic beings go to sleep.
And Joel Schumacher's, I guess. Yeah, I have to say, considering how badly this film did with critics and reviewers, I'm surprised Joel Schumacher got any work after this.
Joel Schumacher is one of those people who has the amazing talent to bounce back from a failure and make occasionally the success. He made good stuff like Lost Boys and Falling Down.
And again, seriously, the most entertainment I'm getting out of this is constantly thinking, oh yeah, this the guy producing this is the man who would go on to help create the Fast and the Furious.
Okay. Now, I do get your argument about a soundtrack being prefer to watch in the movie, but I wouldn't say that takes away from the movie per se. Like, if the songs are good, that is a point in the movie's favor.
I will say this, Jova, because with that, let me share you my normal standard upon which I judge the quality of a musical. My lowest potential, thing I can compare to the musical I really don't like the most is Moulin Rouge. And I can tell you this,
really?
in a way, I'm actually enjoying it much more this.
You know what? I don't entirely blame you. I like Moulin Rouge, but I will admit it's not for everyone. The movie or the musical?
The movie, I actually don't know how the source material worked.
Also, are you sure this one was made in the late 70s? Because judging by the production values and how it's shot, it looks like a film made in the 40s.
Maybe that was the intent. I don't know. Maybe they were trying to do a throwback, considering the
Well, that's
original
the thing,
movie was made in 1939.
Oh, stop! He's trying to commit suicide.
Damn.
What? Oh yeah, I remember that part of the story. The lion, the cowardly
To be
lion,
fair,
tries to off himself.
Was this in the original story?
Yes.
I don't remember actually that.
This is basically based off of a time when the lion is ashamed of himself for supposedly failing Dorothy and whatnot. So I can see why they included this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it does lead to, again, another great song.
I mean, I've forgotten, Jim. Was Quincy Jones involved in this film?
Yes, this is how he and Michael Jackson met.
Yeah, that actually helps me. What I was gonna say. All this film's making me do so far is want to check every person's other much more better stuff, like Diana Ross and Michael Jackson's songs, or Quincy Jones's involvement in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Heck, maybe him. Hey, you know what? Don't worry. I mean, eventually I can show you guys the original Wiz via the 2015 TV show. And YouTube apparently has some recordings of the original, well, okay, not the original, but the revival, which was shot in the 80s, which thankfully starred now teenage Stephanie Mills. Okay. This song actually does work out plot-wise. It's to show that Dorothy is finally starting to, not act all timid, and is actually acting for the shoulder for some of the group members to cry on here and there. That's all fine and well.
Question though, haven't we already seen
what?
a scene similar to this before?
Not necessarily. Let's not forget, Dorothy was more so chewing him out. I guess you could say there was that small lead-in to his version of Ease On Down the Road, but not so much for a scene like this yet.
I don't know.
You know what? I'm going to admit it. Despite the fact that they did have to change Dorothy's character, they still could have made it work with Diana Ross's character if they didn't make her so overtly timid here and there. I mean, it would really work so much better if we...
I also don't understand why this movie is as long as it is, because, okay, Teo, are they incorporating more material that might have, from the book, that might not have made it into the original
As Jova
film
pointed out, some minor things here and there, but it's just details that take up 1 or 2 minutes. So, no, For the most of it, the movie is meandering.
I
Yeah,
will
because
admit, this
doesn't
movie.
really need to be this long. Okay, how long was the stage show? Like, in terms of
Oh, the
how long
stage.
was it?
Oh, the stage show was longer, but that's because it used more song and these musical bits to portray some of their stuff here and there. That said, okay, this movie, like I said, mixes and matches what songs do stay from the musical and which songs were made just for this movie and which they outright replaced. I will admit, I like the music of this movie, but I won't deny there are some bouts of obvious padding.
Yeah, because this movie, it doesn't really feel like this movie is justifying its runtime. Like, it's the story of the Wizard of Oz is a very simple story, from what I know of it, at least.
Okay. I think
And the movie meanders. It really does. It's
Okay.
just like,
oh, there's the Emerald City.
that's the Emerald
Huh.
City.
That's Manhattan, I guess.
I wasn't aware that Manhattan was Emerald
Yep.
City, but
It's
Hey.
totally
Maybe
not
after-
Manhattan. We just put a green filter.
Maybe that's
over
what happened after Godzilla 1988 showed up.
I guess.
Anyway, okay, parts of meandering or songs that weren't needed, or hell, whole scenes that weren't needed. Oh, it's the Big Apple.
Ha 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 ha! Funny.
Oh, but I can't believe they actually did that.
Hey, look at that moves. The camera this time shows the characters actually go through it. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, for a few seconds. Sorry. Sydney felt a bit odd.
Okay, so this again goes to, I feel, Sidney Lumet really not being the best choice for this musical. So let's talk about some songs that could have just been extra songs that weren't done the best. The very first song sung by Auntie M here. In the musical, it's sung to Dorothy. The problem is that in the movie, she's apparently singing it to everyone, even though it really makes sense that she's singing it to Dorothy, but Dorothy is so shy that she's not in it for part of the scene. So that song unfortunately feels pointless. So does Dorothy's own first song about her being scared, because we can pretty much get that you're scared here and there. Fast forward, okay, so the Wiz number, that one works fine. Then there's Dorothy's song, which literally has the lyrics, she's acting like a baby. The song itself wouldn't be so bad, but like Tio mentioned, the scene meandered on sticking around in that area or whatnot. Then, for the most part after that, the pacing is relatively fine. But now we are in the Wizard of Oz. I'm sorry, the Emerald City scene. Now, say this, the songs here are good, but, you know what? I'll let you be the judge of yourselves how well this scene is paced out.
Oh.
Emerald City looks more like Emerald one tiny bit of land.
This is the central hub of Emerald City. Or get this, everyone dresses green.
Thank you, cameraman. Literally.
You've got to be in green, darling. It's what's in at the moment.
Doesn't mean all of you are envious.
Maybe. So what you're saying, Tio? This is what you're saying. They should rename this Envious City.
Now I'm starting to wonder if that was supposed to be the message of the original tale as well in some capacity.
That everyone you know is envy.
No, but the people in Emerald City, despite possessing all the riches they could, were still not happy and were designed for something more
We want to
than
be
maybe
rich.
the outsiders had. I don't know. Maybe I'm just definitely just reading too much into it.
If I recall correctly, in the very original tale, originally the wizard just had everyone wear green shades to make them think it's really an Emerald City.
Which makes sense.
This movie does a bit of an interesting take with things, I will admit.
Again, we're gawking at the music.
Well, okay, to give this movie credit, it is a movie musical, so the music being good is definitely points in its favor.
No, I meant the weird choices of how they move the camera.
Again, I don't think Sidney Lumet was a good choice of director. And let's not forget, he was a replacement for a director who actually knew the musical craft very well. And again, may I remind you, the reason John Badham left was because he was not for replacing Stephanie Mills with Diana Ross for this movie.
Why not just get Robert Wise?
Who?
I don't. Robert Wise is white, I think, to do it. So.
Well, I mean, to be fair, all the directors involved are right. Okay, so here's the thing: the wizard pretty much calls the shots to the point where he says, "You know what? I want to change up the colors," so they do it like that. It's actually an interesting social commentary on the idea of trends and needing to stay in favor of it here and there.
That seems more like a joke that Futurama will do later down the line.
I will
Well,
get.
that's the thing, Joe. But that's kind of why I'm saying it, because if anything, they should have tried to get someone else who's African American.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I say, maybe this would have benefited if they got a director who, was black. But no, Sidney Lumet isn't black either. And neither was John Badham, but I'll say this. John Badham was the director of Flipping Saturday Night Fever, a pretty well-renowned musical here and there. At the very least, maybe Sidney Lumet could have taken some lessons or something? I don't know.
It's a good job. It's a good job this film wasn't made years later. They would have tried to get the director of Staying Alive. I
will give credit, though. The costumes here do once again look pretty good.
Seriously, could you imagine Sylvester Stallone directing a musical?
Also, apparently, I'm checking here, apparently Diana Ross, I guess not too long after the movie, apparently went on for a sketch of Saturday Night Live where she got interviewed by Bill Murray. And apparently, among other increased, he asked her why Dorothy would want to return to a home as rough as Harlem and requested that she sung Over the Rainbow for him. Damn. Okay, so the wizard is a giant hipster in this version. Good to know.
Who plays the wizard?
Oh, you'll see.
Oh, actually, no. I think I saw his name in the credits. Richard Pryor.
Yes, Richard Pryor. Another great actor and comedian.
The only film I recall seeing him in was See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
I literally thought you were going to say Superman 3.
I can surprise you see, Joe.
Thank goodness.
Basically, it was a movie that starred Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. One was blind, the other's deaf. That's the joke.
I thought it was supposed to be a dramatic story.
That's the joke.
It's a comedy.
I hear it's a good movie.
So This America can actually, and NIS in general can make a more dramatic and serious story, kind of with the same concept than that. Good to know.
Wasn't the movie good though?
Not.
I get it. Probably is a good comedy potentially. Just that when you will tell me a premise like that, I'm not thinking comedy is the first option.
So this scene in particular, you either enjoy it for its social commentary, or you think it might drag on a bit too much.
Yeah, because
I get it. They're following trends. Can we get on with the movie, please?
Not to mention, this brings more expensive. It brings more the budget by having 3 types of sets now: one green, one red, and one yellow, complete with all the costumes for all the extras.
I think it's meant to be gold.
Yeah, this one's gold.
Gold and yellow. Very good waves. I can see the technical prowess of trying to replicate the scope, but if that drains from the other scenography, you might reconsider your options.
And don't forget, some stuff like this takes multiple takes, so that could have been more money based off of the different takes.
Not to mention, Job, I can kind of imagine this whole color changing thing was not in the original musical.
No, it wasn't. It's an interesting idea, I'll give it that, but it is one that unfortunately runs the risk of padding.
Hello.
Oh my god, it's Diana Ross! Ah!
Oh my god,
Jesus.
can I have your autograph?
That's a bit pushing.
Now, like I said, I don't consider this movie an utter abomination. I just recognize that it was unfortunately a movie which a lot of hopes were placed on, and it unfortunately failed. I can see why maybe nowadays it has more of a cult following now that you know the stakes of it. Oh, hey, a little reference to the original Wizard of Oz. That's cute.
I wish I was watching that movie instead.
Yeah,
So-
that's the problem when you do stuff like that. You kind of wish you were watching a movie better.
Oh. Whoa. Oh, there's a literal man.
Ha, Mike, get it? It's a microphone.
It looks more like a razor bow. I know that these kind of microphone models were a thing back then,
Oh,
but
okay.
well, that earlier scene shaved off a bit of this film's budget, so
I'll let you pass that, Wibbs.
thank you.
I love that the subtitles actually went with the emotion chuckles nervously.
Yeah, the microphone chuckled. You mean the Wizard of Oz?
To be fair, wearing an emerald CD, Wibbs, so might as well.
Wait, she got shot?
No,
No.
it's the wave of audio wave. Believe it or not, Wibbs, powerful audio frequencies can actually have a physical presence.
Way to barter, Dorothy.
This is the best shot I can find of a close-up.
And now this is turning to Bowser. Oh. Please, yeah, I'm with you. No, no, just send back the elevator. Press the button. Press the button.
Is that that looks like
Something from Tron.
yeah, it looks like the MCP.
Finally, you have access to the DTD. Oh fuck! It even breathes fire.
But yeah, Teo, there you go. That one on the right. That's supposed to be a children's mascot, apparently, according to the filmmakers.
Oh no!
So and there's a point where that thing starts attacking people. So and there's more
You know
of that
what?
kind of stuff.
You know what? Even though, well, okay, I don't like the movie anyway, but
Nobody does.
even though, well, to be fair, okay, I might have something to say about it, but you know what? I'm willing to skip the chance.
I mean, come on, this isn't even like a place where a grand wizard should live. It looks like they just found a warehouse and stuff
Yeah,
with a few
right.
random squares in the middle
Funny you mention that.
and shined a light on them.
He tried. He tried his best with that pun.
Yes.
Yeah, that sums up this movie. You tried your best.
The moral is never
I don't
try.
know. I don't know. Considering they went out of their way to screw over a lot of the people who were originally making this, not to mention casting a woman who clearly should not have been cast into the main role, I don't see this as a trying your best scenario, to be honest with you.
Okay, let me put it like this.
I see this as a trying your best to get money, I guess.
Yeah.
Let me put it like this.
Which-
the actors and Charlie Smalls, you know,
Please stop.
Okay. Okay, I'll give it like this. He's intimidating, but okay, it's probably time I mention this. One of the criticisms this movie got was that this movie could be too goddamn scary sometimes, like, especially for a movie that's supposed to be for kids. And don't get me wrong.
Yes, Java, what was the actual rating?
It was either G or PG.
Okay, to be fair, back then movies did took advantage of being PG, so...
Was Richard Pryor driven insane by this movie?
That wouldn't surprise me.
Ugh.
Please
Jeez,
stop.
I was only asking you a question, man.
I get the idea the wizard will not be great in a game of 20 questions.
Well, or the yes/no game.
Yeah.
Are you a wizard? No.
It's like Dr. Robotnik, just even more scary.
Let me sum it up like this. The actors, for the most part, are giving it their all. Diana Ross is technically giving it her all, but she's kind of the root of a lot of this movie's problems, so I'm not going to give her that out.
I think the issue is that look at this scene, for example. She just looks confused.
Okay,
Like, she doesn't even
Visible
look scared.
confusion.
She looks confused at what she's looking at.
Yeah, this is again.
Well, I mean, she did come from, New York.
So yeah.
But aren't we still in America? Because this takes place in America.
Oh,
No,
God.
this is supposed to be Oz.
Even though it looks like Manhattan.
Please don't animate. Please don't animate. Please don't animate.
Glowy eyes, glowy eyes, glowy eyes.
I think we're gonna see the actual wizard inside that thing. Actually.
Oh, my God.
And this is a problem. Look, I know it's common knowledge that the wizard is a. I know that it's common
And we're
knowledge.
just calling that. Sorry, go on.
I know that it's common knowledge that the wizard is supposed to be a fraud, but come on, have some decency for the plot twist, especially if this is some kid's first time ever seeing it. Like,
my guess is they were thinking, you already know the story. There's no point. The problem is,
it just ruins the magic of it, honestly.
Okay, you know what, Jova? Even though what I'm about to say is a bit cheating, because what I'm about to mention is kind of a retelling of the actual, 1930s movie, I'd still probably take this particular movie adaptation over the Tom and Jerry version.
Oh, definitely.
The Tom, at least there is some form of creativity spark, and in spite of how much betraying of the original musical it was, at least, it's not even a carbon copy of the 1930 movie.
Oh, yeah, like I said...
Not so much for that one.
Like I said, I consider this movie, at worst, a guilty pleasure. It is full to the brim with problems, but I can still find enough things I like about it to consider worth watching, to a certain point, mind you. So, yeah.
I mean,
oh, sorry, go on, Shiroi.
I mean, the wizard, his identity, I guess, was revealed very immediately when it got to the point of meeting him in Wicked, but at least there it made sense in the context of what was going on. Here, it's just like, we didn't really need to see that, considering this is supposed to be an adaptation of a musical adapted from the original. So it's...
Okay. So...
I would find this movie more enjoyable to
Diana,
watch.
I think you're supposed to look happy that they're coming along with you, not
Also, I wonder
sad.
if she forgot her line.
Very good job, but that's exactly my problem with Diana. Diana doesn't seem to know when she's supposed to feel what.
Oh, that said, though, we're about to get to one of the best parts of this movie.
Excuse me, woman. You went so hard to get in to be the main character of this movie. Now that you're in it, act.
So you know the drill. Find the evil Wicked Witch of the West and kill her.
That.
So, this is Eveline's sweatshop. That's right, the Wicked Witch of the West is so evil and mean that she runs one of those awful sweatshops where the working conditions are terrible.
And we see it for the first, and we see probably gonna see her for the first time now. Even though in the story and the original movie, she had been at least foreshadowed in some capacity, and we actually got to see her.
That said, though, her scene is considered one of the best because it's actually a lot more colorful, and the dance scene, believe it or not, actually works damn well for this movie. Hell, her area is one of the more upbeat ones when you get down to it. And it's a sweatshop. An evil sweatshop.
Yeah. Like seriously,
hello.
she went so hard of her way, even screwing the original actress to be in this movie. That the least she could do now is at the very least act.
It's like when David Hayter gave up a bunch of his salary so the original cast could come back for
The Twin
the remake.
Snakes.
For Twin Snakes, and they repaid it by half-assing their acting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Don't Nobody Bring Me No Bad News, the introductory song for The Wicked Witch of the West. And it's awesome. Mabel King reprises her role from the original Broadway show as the Wicked Witch, and she has still got it.
Here's another example that I was talking about earlier too. Julie Andrews was the protagonist of the My Fair Lady musical, but later when they went on to make the film adaptation, the studio wanted someone more famous, so they went with Audrey Hepburn, and she did a great job. Regardless, like, Julie Andrews herself said that no, Audrey was wonderful in it, so it never became a problem. Same thing with Sound of Music. Julie Andrews was the movie, but she wasn't the original actress in the musical.
So, as for the changes to this song, in the original Broadway, it had more of a gospel sense, but for this one, they changed it to more of a show tune variant. Again, one that actually works out very well. And again, look at this, for once, the filming actually complements the choreography for once.
Not just that, I found it hilarious, but probably the more genuine, happy people in this fucking movie so far are the servants of a wicked witch.
Working in a sweatshop, mind you, those were freaking terrible places to work.
Is this the Bizarro world version of Oz?
You know,
What things that should be exciting aren't, but things that shouldn't be exciting are.
And the people that are depressed are not, and vice versa.
It's funny because some people have even gone so far as to say.
We still got 40 minutes left.
Some people have actually gone on so far as to say that they kind of wanted the Wicked Witch to win because it seems like she's the only one legitimately having a good time.
But yeah, I'm also with Dweebs on this one. This is one movie where I can feel every single second.
Yeah, again, it's because the movie drags. This is a story that's very simple, and yet they go out of their way to make. Okay, this song was in the musical. Personally,
yes,
I
this
don't know,
one was in there. Okay, I'd say this one definitely deserves to still be kept. It's literally Eveline's villain song. You can't take that out.
No, sure. I'm not saying that. It's just that, I just don't see much of a. Okay, maybe I guess it would be nice if it developed the witch a bit better.
The witch had.
It just sounds like a "Oh, I'm evil" song.
Well, that's kind of the point of a villain song in a musical, period, for the most part. But okay, here's the thing: the witch had better development in the musical, not so much in the movie. You can blame that on this and that here. And
make this long. Actually bother to put in that kind of stuff then, like ugh.
Damn, that's evil.
Yay.
Well, it's gonna be 7.
Oh jeez. Fireworks, my one weakness.
So she shot a firework at him and he got yeeted out of the building.
Mm-hmm. So basically, the witch is gone. Okay, so none of you dumbasses have managed to stop Dorothy. Okay, the kid gloves are off.
What, implying the treatment they're getting here is kid gloves.
So here's part of the problem, though. As was mentioned in the Nostalgia Critic review, unlike in the original Broadway show, this is the first time we ever see the Wicked Witch, which means that it's only now established that she was the one sending all the stuff after Dorothy and company.
Yeah.
So
it's
you know, maybe
of course they're bikers.
and they look like for a second there I thought they were wearing bat wings, and I'm like,
Wait, didn't Return to Oz and an evil gang of bikers?
The Wheelers.
I'm like, for a
What?
second there. For a second, I thought they were dressed like bats, and I'm like, Joe, you wouldn't be Joe. Joe, you can't be doing Batman yet. You have to wait.
Are
18 years.
those faces are probably not the best faces to have in this movie
17
or
years.
any movie period?
It's not necessarily blackface because the lips aren't red, but I see what you mean about it potentially being problematic. It skims the line.
Let me guess. This has nothing to do with the original musical.
I mean, remember
They-
setting difference and all, so yeah.
Like seriously, like what the fuck was that? Yeah, I can tell that this was made by white people.
Oh, and we immediately found them. Did we skip the
Jesus
scene or
Christ.
something?
Okay, did someone spike my 7-Up earlier?
I don't know, Dweebs, but they probably did the same to me. Even Bill, yeah, I had no 7-Up.
Run, Michael! Run like you're in Smooth Criminal!
What were those elevator stairs?
Okay, no, I'm sorry. This kind of if you had this kind of stuff in a place that actually looks fantastical and that, Oz, what the land of Oz should be, then this wouldn't be so odd. But you have people dressed like this running around some random New York City building.
Also, you can definitely tell the difference between each type of stairs of that. Yeah. Sorry, go on, Dweebs.
It's just, and now she's randomly at a stadium.
I don't. Space is warped and time is bendable.
Cool World is better world building than
and,
this.
and yeah, that's where the film
Oh.
belongs.
Wow, Cool World. Damn, that is not something we incite lightly to you. You do know.
Look at this, Jova. Sorry, put it this way. I get it that Oz is as the whole duplicitous nature of what is it potentially all a dream, or is it just the imagination of Dorothy going on? So the idea of places not connecting to each other is nothing completely new, and the idea of it potentially being outlandish and all. But Cool World, at the very least, having a similar concept, Cool World still establishes key locations and character moving from one place to another in a more coherent way, even though the movie is completely off its nuts. So
That's the thing. Cool World was an absolutely terrible case of executive meddling. It was so... Let's not forget, it's infamous for being the film where Ralph Bakshi was literally given a completely different script than what he wrote on the first
Yeah.
day. So much so that he punched the film.
and we just cut away. Yeah, something tells me that for the final stretch of a movie, they had filmed a bit more, but we realized, oh shit, we kind of need to cut something out.
The editor lost his mind and
So
and this
then
is like
blame
his
the poor
coping
person.
mechanism.
Okay. So, as you know, Dorothy was instructed not to give up the shoes. So
Can the
witch-
movie stop scaring the shit out of me, please?
Well, you won't like this. Her fingers literally get pushed back from trying to take the shoes.
Oh,
It's-
Jova, why?
So,
Jova, was your intent?
Happy birthday!
Okay, Jova, I am not giving you any birthday presents this year.
wait, you were ever going to give me a birthday present? So, let's torture her
No,
friends
but
now.
now I'm
to
definitely not.
So, and now it's time to torture
Brilliant.
her friends to make her give up the shoes.
See, this scene is a bit more comedical, so I am okay with that. It's just that, Jesus Christ, the fingers.
Okay, song.
So, are you regretting all those finger jokes you made to me now?
Is that also?
Look, Dweebs, I'm just for a simple cutaway, not like this twisting, mangling thing.
So, let's see. First she saw the Scarecrow nav. Now she's literally pressing the Tin Man flat.
Well, you save space with that, I guess.
Well, that was needlessly cruel and mean-spirited, but
Well,
And now,
she is...
technically
Oh,
speaking,
okay,
animal
now-
cruelty.
Yeah, okay. Now I'm beginning to see Diana Ross is completely out of her element. Or
Seriously.
even more so than earlier.
Okay, now you think she's evil now? So, that didn't work. Let's see what she'll do with the last one.
Todo. Yeah, I remember. I guess it's a throwback to how the counterpart to the witch wanted to kill Todo in gruesome fashion.
Where's the good witch?
Well, we saw Miss One earlier, and as for Glinda, I'll talk more about her
dog.
later.
Diana Ross looks like she just realized, oh my god, why am I in this movie?
Yeah,
I
even
regret everything.
even out of universe, the dog just doesn't want to be close to that flame.
Again,
Survival instinct is kicking the shit in.
well, I guess he's acting great then. I guess to give Mabel King credit, she is definitely loving the heck out of this. So, I appreciate that. Okay! Now here's something stupid. A fire alarm system.
Well, safety first, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Also, Toto, you bit the lion earlier. Can we get the dog to just bite them?
No.
Let me guess. Water and she starts melting.
Yes.
So this is prime Bond villain stupidity. She coated the layer with the one. Okay,
I like how they didn't even try to stop her from taking the dog back.
Jova.
I guess I'm
Considering
not
the
going
setting,
to get too angry about it because in the original movie it didn't make much sense that she had a bucket of water somewhere.
oh,
in
and
there
it looks like a toilet.
That said, though, the
Fantastic.
fact that she literally put Dorothy right next to the fire alarm is a bit awkward.
Also, Jova,
Water is your weakness. Why didn't you take out the fire extinguishing system?
question.
Yeah?
Considering the different setting change and all, how did the original musical went?
It did not have a sprinkler system, if that's what
I
you're
can
asking.
imagine that. It just went.
Well, no,
I don't know how it went.
This movie's
Could you imagine
stupid.
soaking the
So wait,
audience?
we're putting back the Tin Man with a crowbar?
Well, okay.
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 I'm actually
The
curious about
crowbar
now,
is used to peel him off, and meanwhile they're pumping air into him to try and, flush him out.
Okay, just out of morbid curiosity, Jovo, how does the witch get killed in the musical?
Well, kind of like in the original, she pushes Dorothy too far, and Dorothy eventually takes a bucket of water and splashes it onto her.
And Joel Schumacher thought it was a better idea to just have a fire extinguishing thingy, which completely turns the Wicked Witch into a moron.
Not just that, why did their throne turn into a toilet?
Because she went down the drain.
So was that meant to represent her melting?
Yes.
Ugh, God. Okay, maybe if this was a stage show, I'd be more okay with that because obviously in a stage show you can't really do a whole melting special effect.
Oh, actually, in the
But-
stage, what they did was a pretty phenomenal effect of having her sink into the stage by having her wear these incredibly long dress and robes.
Also, Wicked did it, kind of.
Okay, so it's similar to how the special effect they used in the original film, actually. So because that's how they did it in the original film as well. So sure, that's actually good. But this is a movie. You can actually take advantage of your special effects and actually do something a bit more visual or elaborate. But no.
Oh,
Where
no.
did the budget go?
Straight. So let me get this straight. You change from a bucket to a stupid fire extinguishing system, but you decide to keep the... actually, no, never mind. It's the same difference. Well, this movie's just stupid either way.
Okay. Can I just mention another problem here? You could maybe argue, oh, she had a fire extinguisher for safety. However, she's supposed to be a bad boss. If anything, shouldn't she not care about worker regulations? Again, it was a sweatshop. Those literally did not care about
Not
worker
to mention,
regulations.
Jova, as we saw in a second, the fire extinguishers also melted the entire equipment of a place. So if anything, it's counterproductive to our activity.
It's a shame. This song, and again, the choreography is pretty good. And for once, again, the camera knows more than one angle. The problem is that we're talking over it so much because of the stupidity of the Wicked Witch. Which is, again, a shame because Mabel King was giving it her all. And she was great for the little screen time she had in the movie.
I mean, I'm assuming the witch had more screen time in the.
Yes, in the Broadway.
Well,
Or more stage time in that case, I guess.
it's like Joel Schumacher when he started writing the script. Like, okay, in how many ways can I screw up this
Oh
movie?
boy! Here's something they really changed now. Okay, so
Hello?
the idea for Brand New Day was that eventually the drones would shed their skin and, would change into something like choir robes, to show it was a brand new day. So, in this, they shed the skin, yes, but instead of changing into choir robes, it's, okay, I'll just let you see.
Bikinis? Yeah, definitely.
Barely anything. apparently.
Definitely getting flashbacks from that scene in Batman and Robin now.
This was a movie for kids, ladies and gentlemen.
So basically, this was a preview of what we'd be getting 19 years in the future.
So, it's basically the ending of Kill la Kill. Enjoy!
Clothes are useless. Yeah, pretty much.
I'll admit, as a kid, I was flipping confused by this, having seen the
You
original
watched
musical.
this as a kid, Jova?
It was a
Yes.
kids movie.
I did too, actually. So yeah.
How are you
Uh,
not scarred for life from this?
Not well, Dibs. Unlike two, I don't really scare easily.
Me
Like,
neither.
remember-
Yeah,
remember-
to be fair, Dweebs, fear is subjective. What may scare Pedro is something that might not scare me, and vice versa.
Remember, Dibs. My friends were scared of The Exorcist. I was just laughing because I just found it funny.
Okay,
So-
okay, now I'll give it credit here. The choreography is nice, but it's a little hard to pay attention to the choreography when everyone else is in diapers and underwear. It kind of just makes you think, okay, when's the orgy?
yeah. Is that maybe that's what they meant by whiz? The whiz comes from the orgy.
I wonder if the cinemas now actually review this movie.
Nostalgia Critic and Todd in the Shadows did.
What the hell is even going on at this point?
I can answer that question, Pedro. Actually,
It's just like you would imagine the Wiz to be.
Joel Schumacher was on some form of LSD, and he shared that LSD with Sidney Lumet.
That's a typical sentiment of the 70s, actually.
Everyone was high on drugs. I thought that was
Yeah,
the 80s.
so everyone seemed to think... everyone seemed to... Sorry, go on.
Gotta love Diana's brilliant choreography of just waving her arms up and down.
Everyone seemed to think that the 60s were the age of everyone being stoned out their asses using heavy drugs, but no, the 70s was where the real fun started. Remember, the war on drugs was in the 80s for a good reason.
No,
Seriously, the only thing you can associate this film with of any quality is how it helped spawn Michael Jackson's 80s song career.
Yeah, that is one thing. This movie did help Michael Jackson out with his career, so... Again, this movie did do some good. Holy cow, that underwear is riding up tight.
I also seen some shot of Jova while the actors were jumping, but I could see the actual penis of one of the actors, so that's a nice
Whoopsie.
screen frame bonus.
Yeah, you may notice some wardrobe malfunctions going on here. So, Shiroi, what do you think of A Brand New Day?
This is a
Can
thing.
I watch Les Miserables instead?
Hey, Joe.
Oh,
Hey,
interesting
Jova.
thing is
Yeah?
interesting thing as well. Before this movie, Joel Schumacher was a costume designer for films called Sleeper and The Last of Sheila. And the first script he wrote was for a film called Car Wash, which came out 2 years before this one.
Oh,
Hey, Jova.
yeah?
It's a brand new day. We have turned the page.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Never knew how much I needed.
Car Wash
Somebody
was
to
also
help me this way.
so Car Wash was also a blaxploitation musical film, and also had Richard Pryor in it.
It was
Mhm.
better.
Oh, have you seen that
Oh.
one, Jova?
No, but I've heard it was better. Okay. So, Dwib, sure, you remember how you said that the house for the Wiz seemed like it could be in a warehouse? Well, apparently
It
this
is a warehouse, isn't
This
it?
is a shortcut, the back door to it.
Of course.
Well, if it makes this movie end any quicker, I don't
Okay.
care.
You remember how I said I can still enjoy this movie up to a point? Well,
This is the point.
Oh, are we? Is this the point?
this is the point where the movie really slows down.
Wait, seriously? We're
Wait,
like
it gets
20
even
minutes
slower.
away from it. How can you do that?
Well, that's the thing too. The story is kind of over, so
The only thing that's missing is literally the reveal, then the hot air balloon, then the good witch shows up, and then she teleports back.
And here's another problem here. In this case, the Wiz literally gets his cover blown because he left the back door open.
That's
Oh.
comedy, I guess. Yeah, I wish that was my reaction.
Lies!
I don't understand. Why is Richard Pryor always like this in movies?
Okay. When a movie knows to use him well, he'll do well. It's just stuff like this in Superman 3, don't use him well.
I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of See No Evil, Hear No Evil. Better than that.
Oh god, that's terrible.
Her acting.
No, the fact that he's from New Jersey, apparently.
Although there is terrible too.
So, stop me if you heard this before. He was a comedian, sure, but he was a more TV personality who got moved into an elected official position. A more showman, businessman sort of guy trying to take on politics, where obviously he was not fit for doing it. Makes me wonder if that's where Donald Trump got the idea.
Sucks for you, I guess. Oh no.
So the dog's gonna react to that, but not to being thrown in a furnace.
To be fair, he did try to pull
sure,
away from the fire.
Sure, I don't think the dog is very. I think the dog is just waiting.
Does the dog know he's in a movie? It's in a movie. Okay. That's terrible. Ah. Yeah, raise it down, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Also, see what I mean about the sets getting cheaper and cheaper? This one looks like the backstage.
We are literally...
I gave it probably literally is. It's just
Yeah.
that, I mean, you're conveying the point a bit too.
That's the
Watcher?
thing. They weren't this mundane in the original Broadway show. And here's an issue with the Wiz. So, the Wiz, the wizard, the guy we've been building up to, they make him completely useless in this movie. And I do mean useless. For one thing, he doesn't even get to be the one who says, oh, you had it all in yourselves all along or whatnot. No, that will later be Dorothy. What's even worse, he doesn't even try to initially take Dorothy home either. And mind you, he did do that in the original musical. This is just sad.
And yeah, I get also what you mean about this. Oh my god, the movie somehow managed to do it.
The movie will try for the rest of its runtime to pretty much stay in this one location.
But it's 20
Are they-
minutes.
Is everyone having a staring contest?
Like
So-
Doctor Who with the budget of a sandwich, of a peanut butter sandwich, was able to be so much more creative in set design and movement.
Again, maybe we should have included the original creators in on the process. I mean, okay, yes, we included Charlie Smalls here, so the music is still good, but god dang, is everything else an issue? So, again, instead of the wizard being the one to point out, oh, they had it all in you, it's Dorothy who gets to do it. So, the wizard is really kind of useless.
Well, I guess he wasn't very useful in
Well-
the...
At least he tried after he got ousted, and, he gives them the fake versions of their gifts, at least to make them feel like they've got it. And then he does actually try to take Dorothy home in the original musical as well. Here, he sort of acts as like, a proxy for Dorothy to show that she's learned her lesson to be more outgoing and now realize that there's a whole world out there that she can go to.
That's not the lesson she's supposed to learn. She's supposed to learn that there's no place like home.
Again, it's the opposite here, because, of course, a grown adult woman needs to learn better than a child how to get out there. It's weird. It would make more sense if they had child Dorothy afraid of leaving the house. But adult Dorothy? Again, at this point you should have moved out of your parents' house. Also, this song is completely unnecessary. I do not think it was even in the original musical or whatnot. In fact, by this time, the wizard was singing his own song, Y'all Got It, telling that he was going to leave, leave Oz in the charge of the Scarecrow and whatnot, yada, yada, yada.
Jova, we
Well, he
got
would-
Diana Ross. They gotta give us something to do.
And
We've given her enough
Go
to do
home!
already.
And just... I don't care. It's just... And you stupid movie. God. Ugh.
Is this what purgatory feels like?
Again.
Oh, I forgot which specific game we attached to it. But no, it's not.
Again, I
You know,
think...
again, okay.
I
Okay,
think...
you know what, guys? I got a theory.
What?
Maybe Rob Cohen produced this movie just so he could go, just so that, in about 23 years' time, he could then go on and say, no, guys, I make really fast movies,
Okay. I
not
think
these slow ones.
I think you guys can see why I may have come off as a bit bitter when I was introducing this movie. Again, it's because of this movie that, the blaxploitation era ended and black actors are left scrambling to get whatever parts they could because, well, when this movie bombed at the box office, Hollywood figured, that's it, people don't really want black-led films anymore. Okay, pack it up. And it's so frustrating. Again, I like things about this movie, but I cannot deny that it is the reason that it took until Black Panther for Hollywood to actually, recognize us with dignity again. Oh, yeah, that's right, I wanted to go home.
Well, I mean, your place
Hey,
and this
it's
place
okay,
look
though.
pretty similar to each other, so I'm surprised you can tell the difference at this point.
Hey, it's okay, I guess she can stay with them and... Oh, wait a minute. Is that the sound of bells? So...
Doesn't she have to, clap her heels?
She doesn't know that yet. So, guys, you remember that woman from earlier in the movie who blew Dorothy away with the snow NATO in her hand?
Yeah.
This is Glinda. That's right.
Wait.
Huh?
By the way, those are babies. Those are babies stapled to the wall around her. I mean,
Did we actually use duct tape? Because that would be hilarious.
Well, this movie looks so cheap anyway, so...
Wow, imagine putting that on your resume. I was one of the kids who was hanging from the wall behind Lena Horne as Glinda in The Wiz.
Also, what's with her headgear?
Her dress is so
Sparkly.
extra.
Yeah, again, it feels like that sequence in the Star Wars Holiday Special where they had the music video.
It's like she rolled around in a barrel of glitter.
Yeah. Everyone in 1978 was high.
Okay, you know what? Here's the thing, Java. Trivia exclusive for my country. That kind of dress with the headgear and everything.
My
It
hope
reminds
is
me.
inside me.
It reminds me of a parody that they did of a popular, popular book that it was made in my country. It's called The Brethren. And apparently the main love interest in that movie, in that story, Lucia, she wears a particular headgear because it's supposed to be her wedding. And a parody skit of that had that gear look kind of like that, actually.
Fascinating.
Being high would have helped for this movie.
Immensely, Shira. It probably would have eased up even the fucked up shit.
So, Lena Horne, once again, amazing actress, great singer. That said, at this point in the time of the movie, I was kind of just waiting for the end to roll in because...
Seriously.
Again, maybe if we had it moving from different location to different location, but when you stick on one scene in particular in a while, it can get old. Now, okay, to compare this to another musical movie that does this better, Pirates of Penzance has like a total of 3 or 4 or 5 different scene locations, so you would think it would seem old. Not exactly. What they do is pan to different areas of those locations, and oh my god, even here Diana Ross looks like she's crying.
No surprise!
I guess the reason they have babies hanging from the wall is that, they're
They
like baby
represent as little
stars.
snowflakes because she represents coldness.
Again,
Yes.
why does Diana
Yeah.
Ross look like she's crying?
It's not even like a crying of joy. She looks like it sounds like she's not getting any more paychecks for the movie. Pedro, don't punch the mic, please.
Trying to knock myself out so I can sleep
Oh,
my way
look,
through this.
a shot of a
That
cute...
child looks so concerned.
It's like, okay,
This
yeah,
child's just as bored as the rest of us.
look at
Oh
that.
god.
Shots of the
What the
cute...
fuck is this?
Shots of the cute babies that she pinned to the wall. Cute?
Was this in the original musical?
No!
Remember, Pedro, 90% of what we're seeing here was not even close to being the
That
original.
wasn't even adapted to begin with.
Because
I think the expressions on the kids' faces mirrored the audience quite
Confusion, sadness,
seriously,
regret, and
why?
terror.
and delirium.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
wait. Oh, I get it. Yes, you could have gone home all this time if you clicked your heels together.
Oh god, that child in the
Oh
background.
god, the movie could have ended any time.
I retain that aspect where the she's a bitch and she doesn't tell Dorothy, oh, just click your heels 4 times already.
Hey,
there you go.
hey,
See,
remember.
no reason
Yeah,
for
Glinda's
pressure.
kind of a bitch.
Remember, guys, Glinda was technically the one who blew Dorothy into Oz at the start
Remember,
of the movie.
Java, the best way to sell a solution, create the problem.
It reminds me of that How It Should Have Ended video, where Glinda basically said after the Wicked Witch was just killed by one of the guards, Glinda was like, "Well, that was my plan to send you on a journey and teach you a lesson, and eventually have you kill the Wicked Witch
Okay,
yourself."
I gotta address this. So she's saying, oh, don't you see, there's a world out of here. Here's the problem with the movie. So, Dorothy, you're saying that you finally learned to venture out in the world. Here's the problem, though. Venturing out into the world led her into so much dangerous Oh, wait, this line. That is actually a poignant line coming from a man who would become as famous as Michael Jackson. So, good one.
Yeah, but it's more like it works in hindsight rather than actual merit from the script writer.
In universe, it's a fucking friendship speech.
Yeah.
This is Yu-Gi-Oh now.
I will say this, what's also harsher in hindsight. Out of the 4 main actors, Diana Ross is the only one who's still alive. Yeah, Ted Ross, Nipsey Russell, and Michael Jackson, they're all dead nowadays.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Again, these scenes work, but they fit for a better movie as the culmination.
They do.
Okay,
I don't know. I just find this either weird or just outright boring.
I'm talking about the interactions, the final interactions she's having with them each.
Okay, never. That's I guess sure.
it works, but it needs a better movie to foundate it.
Yeah. Sure.
Being a pawn to the banks.
So here's the problem. How exactly did Dorothy learn her lesson? If anything, wouldn't this venture have told her that the outside world is incredibly dangerous and looking to kill you at every second?
Don't you see, Pedro? Sorry, don't you see, Jova? Through her therapy, she learned how to combat these situations, so she now can be prepared for everything.
Also, you gotta love how they literally vanish into darkness. And here is quite possibly the biggest sin this movie commits.
Let me guess, this is the final scene. We have like 7 minutes of only this shot.
One last song, and it's Diana Ross just looking straight into your soul, singing at the camera about going home.
Can we start with final thoughts, then? Since that's everything that's happening now.
Sorry, the credits haven't rolled yet.
I haven't been this eager to drop a movie ever since Ghost Dead. Damn.
You see what I mean, though, about how as soon as
you left the Book of Henry commentary.
Wait,
I forgot.
Wait. He left mid-commentary?
No, it was towards the end, I believe.
Wow.
I forgot, actually.
Well,
I'm sure it was that movie.
I will give this movie credit. From what I've heard, it's not as bad as The Book of Henry.
It was like within the last 15 minutes of the movie, I think. So.
But okay, you see what I'm.
Did I?
You see what I mean when I said, though, that my interest immediately drops after the Brand New Day song? Like, okay, to give the movie credit, the songs were at least good, and there was some interesting gimmicks here and there. Some of the set designs worked here and there, and at least we're getting new and different various locations, chase scenes, action and whatnot, some nice dance and, big choreography scenes. That all goes out the window as soon as we enter the Wiz's warehouse for the last time. Because it's dark, quiet scenes, just songs being sung solo here and there, and here it's literally just Dorothy on her own. It's kind of creepy. It's like the ending... Okay. It's like the penultimate entrance in, say, a Kingdom Hearts game, except it's right before the big finale where the friends join back up with you, but no, the friends don't join back up with Dorothy now, they just go. But it's okay.
If anything, Java, it does remind me the last song that Carrie Fisher sings in Star Wars Holiday Special. She practically turns towards the camera, and most of the shots is focused on her. And it's the only spare for that because there is an actual scene after that shows Chewie's family returning on their home.
Well, at least Diana Ross is a singer.
Yes.
Not to mention she wasn't bastardizing an actual existing music theme.
Holy cow, you can get a look at her tonsils from here.
I'm not an otorhinolaryngologist, Joe. Sorry.
Do we need to close up on her?
It's like that scene in Sonic ZTN. It's like it's the scene in Sonic ZTN. Snively, what color is my arf?
The part where she shows the most passion is when she's singing. Why not just make this like I don't know, an extended Diana Ross music video?
But don't you see? It's to show that she is now grown out of being that shy and scared woman, and now she is ready to go home. Has she truly learned to now move out?
Cut the credits.
Nope, not entirely. Click.
So we don't get to see her talking to her family again?
That's the thing. It's in this version, it apparently was not even a dream, supposedly. Unless she fell asleep in the snow, which would mean she'd probably be dead, but now she's back now.
Hypothermia is one hell of a drug, kids.
So now she goes back home. Oh, Aunt Em and Uncle Henry, I had this amazing adventure, and you weren't there. In fact, none of my family members correlated to the originals.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, you want the movie to end?
No, that's the thing. It's paced horribly.
It just stops.
Yeah.
As he hears that one shot of the road again.
Not just that.
It's over.
Not just that, it's the fact that, this final bit is so rushed. The movie just realized that we lost the budget, and the editor was like, cut the credits. We don't get to see the family again.
Oh my god.
Okay. Pardon me, Jova, but I want to start with final thoughts. I'm just so over this movie. Look, Jova described most of the problems behind it, and he's much more qualified than I will ever be to talk about those. So let me just judge it as a movie on its own. As a musical, like I said, it's better than stuff like Moulin Rouge because it did entertain me at points, and it scared the shit out of me at others. So at the very least, I wasn't pissed off by it. But my God, there are some points, a lot of points actually, where the movie just drags, or is just not funny when it tries to, or it's just depressing when it tries to. Like again, like what Jova said, that the unfortunate implication tied to changing the setting and making it this, making it like this. The actor's performance for the most part okay, except for our main lead.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Dorothy's actress is just not fitting at all. And I get the feeling this was like the role of her lifetime, the one that she wanted the most and fought tooth and nail because she desperately wanted to be in that. But
how fitting that this would be the role that would kind of
kill her career.
Well, her acting career. She would be in 2 other movies, but let's just say after this, she would mainly stick to singing.
We had so many clothing artists for the props.
I'm not surprised about that, but yeah, this pretty much killed her acting career except for 2 other movies. She mainly went back to singing.
Time and time again, it's been shown that pet projects for anyone involved in the artist artist industry just don't work. Like just because you have it was in the dream, your dream in the closet kind of thing, it's not automatically means it will be successful or what other people will have the same enjoyment that you have. And
so what
again, and just the final stretch of a movie is just one dragging beating to the other.
Look at that, filmed entirely at the Astoria Studios and on locations in New York City, of course.
Again, also
there you go. It was rated G.
No, fuck this.
Yep, it was rated G. All audiences admitted.
No. Hell no. But no, this was just. I don't even know. Like it's scary. It's boring. It's a bad adaptation. It's a bad adaptation of the adaptation. Like it was a killer for the aforementioned blaxploitation period. It's a prime example on 2 things about Hollywood doesn't actually get people, and I don't mean potentially just minorities, people in general, and how Universal has always been a sketchy company, not just after the Comcast acquirement.
Yeah.
But I just want to forget this movie as much as possible so I can dream properly now. I can only hope. Again, the silver lining is that this was Michael Jackson's career boosting that he needed. So at least I'm glad that at least someone got a happy ending out of it. But otherwise, this was just.
You could argue
horrible.
that actually, that's a funny thing. In sort of a bit of a karmic retribution way, when you get down to it. When it comes to the actors, pretty much every actor benefited from this except Diana Ross. So...
Anyway, I hope you're happy for your birthday, Jova. I can only hope next year will be something that you can all sit, enjoy, and laugh without being traumatized by it.
Oh, I got it. The Wiz Live. No, seriously though, The Wiz Live is a much better adaptation because, well, it's basically the Broadway musical adapted into a TV show special. And from what I've seen, it works very damn well.
Whatever. That's it for me. Tio out. Next.
Shiroi.
Well, that was different. I mean, a good different in parts. Like, I like the music.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it is, well, I mean, okay, a lot of the actors are really good, like not just the ones returning from the Broadway show. Yeah, Diana was a bit flip-floppy.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Would you say even the dog was a better actor than her in this movie?
Damn.
The dog was also, like, it seemed like they didn't know what to do with the dog, to be honest. But, like Diana's a performer of a different kind. Like this kind of thing really isn't her shtick. They really should have gone with someone else.
You know, like they were originally going to with Stephanie Mills, the original Broadway
but that's the thing,
actress.
Yeah, it was her who, for some reason, thought she was the perfect person for this.
Yeah.
And it was one of the bigger detriments to this movie, I think.
Again, remember, they changed the setting to fit her character, which means in turn, they had to change also Oz in some ways to fit with the New York aesthetic here and there. Not that I minded that. I mean, there were some good ideas, but, you know, like I said, it led to a lot of crap with the movie.
Mm-hmm. The costumes are also good, save for some scenes. What the fuck?
I guess A Brand New Day. Okay, I get what they were going for with that. The problem is that it was done better in the Broadway show when, you know, they had choir robes underneath to, you know, give a sense of freedom and jazz and spirit and whatnot. I get it, you know. Supposedly them being naked shows that they have shed their old chains and whatnot, but, rated G for kids, apparently.
With, unintentional, exposure, apparently.
Oh, don't even get me... And let's not forget the poisonous poppies.
Oh, yes, those. This movie isn't very subtle with a lot of its changes, and yeah, you said this was rated G in America?
Yep.
Oh, lovely. I'm pretty sure a child... Well, actually, how easily would it be for a child to forget this? Probably not very.
Actually, Sheree,
I forgot about it. I forgot most of it.
Well,
so,
okay,
yeah.
Sheree, to answer your question, one of the main criticisms of this movie around the time was that some people thought it was too scary for kids, and apparently some kids did get terrified at scenes.
For some scenes, yeah, I can see that happening. But, other than that, like, they should have just adapted the musical. Because a lot of these changes would just, you know, in terms of the environments and, you know, having more adult stuff, I guess, because of the new age of the characters. Like, it just doesn't work. I can get why people enjoy watching it, but then there's the last 20 minutes of the movie, which is, end, please. And it has, which is lovely. That's it. This was very different from what I expected, and it's very hit and miss for me.
Can I go next?
Sure.
This is one of the trippiest movies I've ever seen. I mean, I swear the thought process that went into this movie excuse me, was like, how do I make this simultaneously boring and trippy at the same time? I mean, it took a lot of conceited effort, but congratulations, Sidney Lumet and Joel Schumacher. You did it. Oh, and Rob Cohen too, I guess. But seriously though, I mean, the songs were fine, and and I mean, to give her credit, Diana Ross, when she's singing, she's great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But the main problem is that she also has to act,
and again,
which is not so awesome.
Okay, she can act. The problem is like, well, the role, it does not fit her at all. Timid,
which is odd because they had to tweak the role for.
Yeah, timid and scared.
And it still didn't fit.
Yeah. Timid and scared are not the ideal words that I think of when I think Diana Ross. And I think Diana Ross should have known better than to strong-arm her way onto this project anyway.
Christ, that'd be like, what would a good equivalent be today? That'd be like if Lady Gaga strong-armed her way into a musical. Well, she was in a musical, but the main difference, I mean, she showed that she was capable of acting the part and singing it in A Star Is Born. Diana Ross, she gets one half of it right, the other half not. I mean, the rest of the cast is fine, and I was actually pretty surprised at Michael Jackson because, considering he's not an actor, I thought he was all right as the Scarecrow.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it was for the best though that he stuck to singing was the rest of the.
Not entirely. Let's not forget, Ribs, he made Moonwalker, and he's also in Men in Black 2.
Wasn't he also in like a Space Channel 5 game?
Yes. I remember he was a fan, and Sega actually allowed it to be an actual character, Space Michael.
I wonder how they managed to get that arrangement. But anyway, unfortunately, along with Diana Ross's unconvincing acting, the main other problems are that okay, I swear they spent most of the budget on Diana Ross's salary. This movie looks incredibly cheap. It's like, I mean, where's the? Oz is not. Oz is. There's no magic or any kind of whimsy in the world of Oz here. It's just generic parts of city. It's like they just cut out the pictures of parts of New York, stuck them on a screen, and called it a day. I mean, and it makes all the fantastical stuff come off as just weird, because fantastical in fantastical works because it fits. Fantastical in generic city, unless that was the effect they were going for, and I highly doubt that was the case here. It just looks weird. Like random people dressed as what I'm hoping are bats running around a car park or a stadium. And the dancing, the dancing wasn't that bad again, except for Diana Ross, where it seems like the only dancing she even knew how to do or was given was, wave your hands up in the air or something. But yeah, this film is just weird, and unfortunately not in the good way, because even that factor wears off because of the length of the film. I'm pretty sure they could have cut off some stuff and it wouldn't have changed the movie. In fact, they might have improved it, getting rid of some of the fluff, like that weird staring contest at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not a good movie at all, and it's amazing how Sidney Lumet and Joel Schumacher managed to recover from this. And Rob Cohen, although from what I understand he's in a bit of hot water at them.
Figures.
So yeah, that's The Wiz. It's Dudums. Who's next?
Pedro?
Oh, me. What Web said, I guess, because I am completely at a loss for this movie, because this movie is just so hard to sit through because it's constantly doing such bad decisions and it's constantly meandering so much. That's the primary problem. The pacing really makes this movie a fucking slog to go through. But aside from that, yeah, basically what Whip said. Diana Ross, screw you for screwing up this movie. So, the end.
Jova, please.
Oh boy. Again, this movie is kind of heartbreaking because there's a lot of stuff I can enjoy about it. I do come back to this movie, although I kind of stop it right before the warehouse scene because, well, it's the warehouse scene. It's just them in a warehouse for that long, and I don't care for the songs at that point. Like, that's a shame. The songs are sung good there, but I don't care about them at that point because at that point, it's gone and done it. And again, it's weird that they got rid of arguably some of the better songs and created new songs for this movie here. Some work out, yes, but others don't. again, this movie makes some baffling decisions, like, again, giving Michael Jackson a song where he doesn't get to show off his dancing, and then when he finally does get to dance, it's shot so terribly because Sidney Lumet apparently cannot direct a musical to save his life. I'm sorry, like, maybe he was trying new stuff, but again, look, this was a movie that had a lot riding on it, so just getting somebody who was trying something out wasn't going to cut it, because look at the end result. Again, it ended the blaxploitation era, and it took until Black Panther, which came out in 2018, for things to get back on track. And again, I still have something of a soft spot for this movie. I do consider it something of a cult classic. It does have a lot of interesting ideas, and the actors are definitely giving it their all. Even Diana Ross, the problem is that Diana Ross is just wrong for the role. Like, they seem set on making her timid and scared, but that doesn't mean she has to be crying every time. It's the point where her seeming happy, even when she's supposed to look happy, she seems like she's crying. Like, I'm wondering, between her and Ong from Last Airbender, who looks like they're crying the most? Jesus Christ. That said,
I would argue Noah Ringer looked more like it was, because he looked like that practically all the time, whereas Diana Ross mostly just looks confused.
fair enough, yeah. It's a shame. Diana Ross can act, and she can work better. Now, Paige,
I'm aware of that.
It was like it was mentioned earlier. Why didn't she go for the witch role? Well, that's easy, because they got back Mabel King from the original Broadway, so if they'd had Diana Ross playing the witch, that would have just been replacing another cast member from the original. And Mabel King's just too awesome for that.
My original idea would be just, not have her here. Like,
I
don't know.
get it. Diana Ross really wanted this part, but you gotta realize when stuff will be a detriment here. Again, it was because of Diana Ross going on that the original director, John Badham, who actually was experienced in directing movie musicals, it was for that reason that he left, because, well, it was clearly a scummy thing to do. What a shame. That said, though, thankfully The Wiz did not have to live in infamy forever, because in the 80s, there was a Broadway revival starring, once again, Stephanie Mills from the original. And it brought back great success here. And like I said, now The Wiz has a Wiz Live show version, which is essentially the musical, but recorded in a way that, get this, Shiroi, we at home can actually watch the musicals if we want to. It's an amazing feature. Kind of wish some Broadway shows would do it.
Hopefully they will now. Please?
Please.
Again.
How
Now,
sad is that it would take a pandemic for them to do it.
again, look, with The Wiz, I won't act like the directors and screenwriter were intentionally racist or wanted this movie to fail. I can assume that they wanted it to work, but they just weren't the men for the job. And maybe Joel Schumacher was the man for the job, but if he supposedly was, then I don't know what the hell happened to his original vision. 'Cause going off of this, it comes off as somebody trying to get another ethnic race without actually consulting that ethnic race. And again,
Yeah, like I said, Jova, I saw a couple of Joe Schumacher's quirks spruce at least in between the parts of a movie, so I can definitely feel he had an impact of some kind, in the actual making.
pretty much, yeah. And it's such a sad failure. 'Cause honestly, I wanted this movie to be good, and you know what? As a kid, I enjoyed it. Although, even as a kid, I kind of got bored of it around the warehouse scene. Seriously. Again, now, the songs are good. The music is good. The actors, for the most part, are good. Hell, the Wicked Witch of the West, for as little screen time as she gets, I found her memorable as all heck, especially with her creative ways of trying to torture everyone. Yeah, it's dark and stuff here, but at least up until the warehouse scene, I could say that parts of it felt creative enough to feel like it came from Oz, but no, the warehouse scene is literally just a warehouse scene, and I keep coming back to that warehouse scene. God, it does drag a lot. But that's a thing. The warehouse scene has, all the problems of the movie pretty much there. Diana Ross is off and on acting, Richard Pryor not being the best, some scenes just looking too dull, and some songs not being staged the best to really fit with the idea of it being a musical wonder piece. Also, the ending feels a little depressing with the goodbye she has to give to her friends. I know it's supposed to be heartbreaking, but geez, the lighting doesn't help either. Like, buck up, movie. You were literally just having the golden brand new day song, and suddenly you hit us with this mood whiplash wall. Ease us into it, please. What can I say? This movie tried to ease on down the road, but it ended up just falling flat on its face. It is something that I will come back to, but mainly for the songs and the good parts here and there. That said, though, frankly, it didn't have to end completely bad. Some black actors could still get work, and the main actors involved still did get work themselves. And as for The Wiz itself, it did finally, thankfully, get more recognition as the better show, albeit Broadway such. Who knows? Maybe someday we'll get a proper movie adaptation of it. Although, fun fact actually, one of the actresses who's played Dorothy on a version of The Wiz went on to play Dorothy in Muppets The Wizards of Oz.
Irony.
Neat.
Alright.
So happy birthday, Jova.
Happy birthday, Jova.
That
I'm
was...
gonna send you those fucking marionettes so I make sure when you wake up we will find them stuck in your bed.
Don't worry, Theo. I'll be sure to bring a better musical for my birthday.
Well, I already saw it one, and it's definitely not scary at the very least.
Yeah, sorry if the subway scene scared you to you. I know that probably has some Snow White vibes there.
Anyway, see you next time, whatever.
See you next time.
See ya.